Heyo!
Hey!
Hi.
We're fucking
Welcome
here.
to Fuck This Movie,
Fuck this movie.
where movies come to get fucked.
Come on over, movies.
Yeah.
Movies may even come.
Next up, please. Don't push. Wait patiently. It'll be your turn soon.
We fuck all the movies
We
around
do.
here.
We just fuck them all.
We don't discriminate.
Not even a little bit. So let's get some intros going. To my left, we got the window repair guy, Criterion Collector. Single-handedly keeping the theaters alive, I believe, Mr. Reese Anweiler.
Hell yeah. Hello.
He sees like every movie
Hello.
twice. It's crazy. Everything.
I gotta.
Yeah.
I mean,
You gotta do it.
due diligence, man.
To my right, we have badass tattoo shaman, JB John
Tattoo
Brown.
shaman. I like that. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
actually accurate.
Yeah, he's too old to be cool,
Yeah.
but
That is me.
he's here. He's not too old
I'm
to be
always here.
Yeah,
Always.
that's true. I am last and maybe least, who knows. Dustin Holler. I am the straw that stirs the drink, as the fellow says. So, what have you guys been? What have you been
Or
up to? What have you been
Rusty
watching?
Nail if you're a Tom Waits fan.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's good. Good reference.
I don't know. You want me to take
I
this
am
one?
too.
Yeah, you started out.
All right, cool. So I've watched a bunch of shit.
Awesome.
Like, just a huge amount of things. I've talked to you guys about some of them. I don't really know where to start
Let's pretend that
exactly.
you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't talk in depth. I mentioned. So I guess one thing I'll start off with, keep it easy, is on the watching, I think it's actually a rewatch of Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, a Studio Ghibli movie.
Yeah.
And, man, it's fucking beautiful. It's
Yeah.
really hard to fault. It's, a family film, but it's not childish by any means. It's a post-apocalyptic story.
Beer crack number one.
It's it's a super well written. Of course, the animation is fucking beautiful. I mean, flawless, basically. Fantastic lead character, basically female Jesus in a post-apocalyptic fungal bug-infested world.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's one of my favorite things about Ghibli films is they're never really set on Earth. Like almost never.
Yeah, so it's something similar, but not
Yeah.
really quite there.
Kinda Earth,
Yeah, and that's kind of the point of. I mean, it's the point of fantasy for sure, is to be able to take you away somewhere, but still be relevant and still hit hard. you
Yeah.
know?
I know I'm kind of the tard in the group when it comes to talking about Studio
Ghibli.
Ghibli, but the one thing I could say is that last film that I saw in the theater. Well, I don't remember.
The Boy and the
The Boy
Heron.
and the Heron.
Yeah, the Boy and the Heron. Like I was talking to my wife, and I'm like, it's kind of weird how there's this like bird, but it's like a dude in his throat, so it's kind of like a dude in a bird suit, but not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She's like, yeah, he does that all the time.
Yeah, and that's just Japanese shit, man. Have you
Yeah.
ever watched a really fucking crazy one? Is that
There's always a dude with a big nose in somebody's
Yeah,
throat.
oh, yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, there's always dudes with big nose and Japanese
That-
shit, like Japanese lore.
That one, The Boy and the Heron especially felt very... Did you get to see it yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's on
I
my
think
list,
it's
yeah.
on streaming.
It
now.
is now, yeah.
Yeah. That one especially felt very inspired by like Japanese demons and
Yeah,
mythology
yeah.
and stuff like that.
No, I mean, it's just, there's so much super interesting stuff in Japanese mythos and what Japanese do. I mean, they're just interesting fucking people, but
Yeah.
no, if you want to, you think that's crazy. Like, there's an anime called Dorohedoro. Like, watch that shit. Like, that's super wild. It's like a wizard that's inside of this lizard dude that's running around trying to find the guy that killed the wizard and stuck him in the lizard dude. Like, crazy shit. But no, yeah, Nausicaa just... It's one I would recommend you watch, Dustin. I think you'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
One thing when they do, one thing I really like that hit me when I watched this one again, it was dubbed, and I don't know when it was dubbed from its original release. If there was a separate dubbing,
Did it have Anne Hathaway in it?
it had Patrick Stewart and Shia LaBeouf and some other notable American American actors.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's really one thing that he does well in
Stewart's a
translating.
G.
Huh? Fuck yeah, he is. But just like he gets when he does dub the films over, because like Howl's Moving Castle has Christian Bale and a bunch of other
Yeah,
notables
yeah.
too. Like he gets gangster ass motherfuckers to do the voice acting for
Robert
the American
Pattinson
release
as the Heron in Boy and the Heron.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Like,
you can't
he
even
gets-
tell
he
it's
gets
Robert
the-
Pattinson.
He gets the best voice actors for his
Yeah.
stuff when it comes to American. It's so good because so often voice actors are just not.
Yeah,
with
though some of the, and I don't know, because I know some, like Totoro has been dubbed more than once.
Yeah,
And the newer one, and I think some of the first round dubs of the Ghibli movies were done at like in the way that people hate dubs,
Right.
where like it's all like monotone and
Yeah.
the lips obviously don't match
Right,
and
right.
stuff like that. But yeah, the newer wave, and I say newer as in like since like 2010, I think,
Right.
dubs of the films are so much better.
Well, and that's what I was wondering as I'm watching this. I'm like, because this film was like 87,
Yeah.
and it's like Shia LaBeouf's voice acting. I'm like, when did this happen? Because I know he ain't that old, man. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
They remastered that shit.
yeah.
No, yeah, because like remember Ghost in the Shell? Was it not Ghost in the Shell? Was he? No, yeah, it was Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
They said it was like one of the first anime films that like they co-released in America with
Okay.
Japan, and it kind of flopped in
Right.
America because like we weren't. It hadn't really been that introduced to anime
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
But like Spirited Away, and that didn't come out till like 2001 or 2.
Right.
That was when America really started being interested in it.
Right,
So
true.
it was like from then on we started getting
Yeah.
The
Actually
dubs
making more
and
of an
stuff.
effort.
Weird as shit. I still don't know what's going on.
Which one?
I saw it in 2000. Spirited
Away.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
you should
no,
rewatch
that
that
one's-
one.
that
I
one's
It's-
saw it in
weird, yeah.
2001.
It's
and, like,
fantastic.
it just shit happens that I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Now,
like
Nausicaa definitely does not like. You'll understand what's happening here. It's a great just microcosm of just humanity and what we do and our failings. Really beautiful film.
Yeah.
So definitely watch that one if you feel like it. It's pretty. It's actually coming up on its fourth. It's actually playing in theaters somewhere this month because it's
Yeah.
the 40th anniversary.
probably Fort
of it.
Wayne.
That would be fucking amazing.
The shitty thing is, a lot of times with those like special re-release movies, they'll get them for like 3 days,
and then just
and it's not like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's like Tuesday,
4 o'clock
Wednesday,
on a
Thursday,
Wednesday.
and it's
Right,
like,
right.
who the fuck is this for?
All right, so that one is definitely one that I needed to talk about, and it's honestly probably like technically the best film I'm going to talk about. These other films, they're fucking fun. People won't call them good films probably, but god damn it, I thoroughly enjoy them.
Yeah,
Six String Samurai is one that I wanted to talk about.
haven't heard of that.
It's 98. I don't remember the director. It is the only rockabilly post-apocalyptic story I've ever seen.
Wow.
And it's fantastic. The setting is that we got bombed to shit by the Russians in like 57 and the world
I
went to...
love that it's the Russians.
Yeah, of course. And the world went to shit except for Vegas. And in Vegas, Elvis became the king of what was left. And the setting of this story is that the king is dead, and now there's a slew of rockabilly samurais venturing to Vegas to play a gig to win the kingdom of Vegas.
This is the kind of movie I don't understand how I've never heard of.
Yeah, no, for sure. I actually only heard of it because of Facebook, honestly.
Did you see did you look up the poster, Dustin?
Yeah, that looks.
Oh,
amazing.
god damn, I need that poster. Holy fuck.
It'll be in the show.
Oh, yeah.
It'll be in the store in the
Yeah.
future.
That looks like the artist who did the Preacher series.
So it's really good, man.
Did you watch this on Shudder?
No, I could only find on YouTube.
Oh, well.
You can't. The
What
DVD.
link
I
is
went
this?
to Amazon first. No, nothing to rent.
Well,
All
how did
the
you hear about it?
Facebook.
Oh,
So the only thing, because I manage my Facebook feed pretty strictly, the only things I really see are like old sci-fi, horror, and sword and sorcery movie shit and art.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that popped up a year ago, and I finally got around to watching it.
Reese, did you just add it to your watch list?
Yes.
on
I,
Letterboxd?
like literally
It's
just now.
So
motherfucker, it's on your watch
look,
list.
this-
Don't act like you've never heard of it.
Even that
one,
poster's pretty sick.
No, for sure. So yeah, the main character
It
is
looks like a
his name.
Elvis Costello album cover.
Yeah, his name is Buddy, and he looks
Yeah.
kind of like Buddy Holly. But it's him venturing to Vegas to play a gig to win
What the
kingdom.
fuck? How have I not heard of this?
He ends up the
I've
first
never heard of
scene-
any of the people in this movie.
Oh no, you're
No,
not gonna.
no.
Not at all. The first scene is him rescuing a kid who really is probably like, I guess, a degree autistic. a good example of it, honestly. But he rescues the kid, and the kid tags along. He keeps trying to like shun him off, but he becomes his traveling partner through the movie. And then it's really good. You get a bunch of zany battles. You know, the first guys he's got to throw down with past saving the kid. I like
this letterbox review. It's like Fallout meets Don McLean's American Pie. The music slaps too.
Yeah, dude. No, for sure. It's so good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I was concerned that like it might be like super hokey like fight choreography, and honestly, it was perfectly fine. It was perfectly acceptable. The guy was clearly a martial artist. That's the main character. Maybe not the best one, but definitely proficient. So the fighting was on point. The music was fantastic. The atmosphere was great. Like the main dude's a little grating, but it could have been the directing too. And also, it was just the nature of the story.
Letterboxd says that if you like this, you might also like Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, so 100% true. Yeah,
that makes sense.
But yeah, so if this is a really obscure one that I only happened to see on Facebook a year ago and finally got around to watching, but goddamn it, is it fun? Wow. He battles some Hispanic fucking bowlers, some post-apocalyptic Hispanic bowlers.
Yes.
Then he battles some like cavemen that roll around in a fucking like modded out Volkswagen Bug. He ends up fighting like 200 Russian soldiers. Like, it's craziness. The end of the movie has some very much Wizard of Oz vibes, but super fucking fun. So check that out.
Speaking of being completely off subject and has nothing to do with this podcast at all, I watched a YouTube video yesterday.
Yeah.
And it was two men playing soccer barefoot in, I think it was like a gymnasium or something. They had two soccer goals. They were playing soccer with a bowling ball barefoot. And there were Legos scattered all the way across the...
What the fuck?
Anyway, look that up because that's entertaining.
That could be a documentary a while. Yeah. Like, how did this happen? What happened to them? Did they die? They could have. Oh, Jesus.
Apparently, the only other notable movie this guy has directed, Lance Mungia? I don't know. It feels like a slur or something. Is The Crow, Wicked Prayer.
Really? One of the weird Crow sequels?
Yeah.
Okay.
The 2005 Crow sequel.
There were like 2 or 3 at least.
I know they did City of Angels, which I didn't watch.
They did.
They were bad.
The Crow City of Angels was the second one.
I might have to watch that again.
Then The Crow, Salvation.
Any of the sequels, because like I know they're not good, but like just to see how bad they get.
I haven't seen the original in a while, but like I feel like the original holds up to a certain extent.
I think so, but I don't know. Honestly, I had that conversation with somebody the other day that it's like everyone has this super like The Crow is so endearing and everybody just like staunchly defends it. But I haven't fucking watched it since I was goddamn 13, so I really can't tell you.
Brandon Lee was not good, but like, I feel like this was the perfect storm for him because he didn't have to do much.
No, and there's a lot of good other casting in there in the atmosphere. I don't know.
He just had to be like ominous and like be a good-looking guy and like kind of creepy,
have a good jawline and just deliver some lines. You know.
Well, 2 reasons why it's a good time to rewatch The Crow is because we're getting The Crow remake later this year, and it is the 30th anniversary of the original.
Okay. I really do want to sit down and watch that.
That's got potential.
Oh, I think it's probably going to be a better movie than the first one.
It could
the new one?
I think so.
I think it has
almost like
I don't know who the director is.
I would almost put money on that it's going to be better if they got Skarsgård involved. Because I really like that dude.
You got a lot of loyalists with that first movie, though.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I want to watch it, because people will just be that and be like, it wasn't The Crow. Fuck you.
I mean, people have already assumed it's terrible because they hate the new makeup, which I don't think the new makeup is anything. The other makeup's
fucking makeup, too,
It's makeup, you know? You just like the old one because it's old.
No, it's nostalgic for sure. That movie is carried on a lot of nostalgia. All right, next up, I am going to talk about a Troma movie. Which I'm a fan of dirty-ass Troma movies. I always have been. And that'll lead me into a conversation I want to have about a Troma movie that has not happened or has happened. I don't know yet. But I watched a Combat Shock. That's one I found on Shudder. and it's about like a Vietnam veteran. Or some kind of veteran. I don't even know if they're specific. Just a veteran, a war veteran.
He's a veteran.
Yeah, that hasn't been able to cope and transition into society, and like he lives in the most derelict of situation you could ever be in. Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Is the movie as exciting as the poster?
In ways. It's not as action-packed as that makes it seem.
This is probably like taken from one montage.
Exactly. That's pretty much.
The guy at the bottom looks like he has one of those guys in his throat.
Okay, so actually, you know what? The guy at the bottom of that image. God, I wish we could pull this up.
Yeah, I know.
Viewers.
This is terrible.
Google Combat Shock.
Combat Shock.
Terrible audio.
Look for a poster. It's ridiculous.
The bottom guy. All right, so let me preface a little bit of the movie first. So the main character. Dude never been able to transition, lives in the most derelict conditions ever. It's like, lives in a neighborhood that looks like the neighborhood that that Barbarian was filmed in.
Oh, yeah.
Like the neighborhood around the house.
Yeah.
That's where this guy lives. And it's just like, bad people, bad shit all the time.
Trailer park.
He can't work. He seems like he could work. But he's got a wife with a baby. And this is one of the creepiest things in the movie. His wife has a baby. And it's a deformed baby, but because it's Troma, and they have like no fucking money at all, they have this weird prosthetic baby that cries constantly, and they show constantly, and it's like they control it to like move and cry and shit. And it's just like one of the most unsettling, horrifying things you could ever see. It's just fucking ugly and creepy, but it's like, oh, his wife has got this handicapped baby that she can't handle, he can't handle. Neither of them want to fucking work. That was the one thing I said through the whole movie. Because the wife is like incessantly bitching about the husband, like, fucking, what are you gonna do for us? Like, well, he's a piece of shit, yes, but you're also kind of a piece of shit for just sitting here and like bitching at him for being a piece of shit. Like, you're not doing anything but sitting here with this baby, so you guys could swap. But anyway, the worst situation ever. The whole ghetto he lives in is controlled by some goon, some pretty classic goon gangster guy that runs drugs, prostitutes, all that jazz, and is constantly fucking with this guy.
The trifecta.
That guy. So the bottom of that poster is the muscle for the goon. And that does not do him justice at all, because he is like all the 80s goon tropes thrown into one. This motherfucker is wearing an Indian choker, a fucking Japanese sunrise bandana, dark fucking sunglasses, studded leather vest, chains across the shit. Like, oh my god.
Is he like big? Is he beefy?
No, not really.
Pretty slim.
He's about Dustin size.
Slim, very tiny.
They couldn't afford like a fucking beefcake muscle house.
Yeah.
It's just like whatever guy that kind of looked like that, looked big enough.
He's passable.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a crazy movie about this dude just going insane. Some of the dorkiest sound I've ever heard in a movie. The music, super terrible, but the whole film is this dude going insane. So the cartoonish quality of the sound effects and the random nature and just nonsense quality of the music actually incidentally plays into what the movie's going for.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is terrible, but it's like, this guy's actively going insane. So like, maybe this is the soundtrack to this guy going fucking insane.
Huh.
And so by the end of it, he snaps, kills the goons, goes home, ends up killing himself. Well, ends up killing his wife/girlfriend, kills the fucking baby, which is fucking gruesome, and then kills himself, which is fucking gruesome. As a big Troma fan, I will say it is their best work for death scenes I've ever seen. Like, the death scenes in this are very... they're legit. Like, they're very gripping and real. Like, amidst all the bullshit that this movie kind of is, you have a handful of just really, like, gripping, intense death scenes. And so it's a fucking trip. It's a ride. If you like really schlocky, fucked up shit, as I do, I do recommend it, actually. And I do recommend watching a lot of Troma shit, because a lot of it is pretty goddamn fun. And so the segue there is, what the fuck has happened with the reboot of Toxic Avenger? I tried to Google it the other day, and I couldn't find anything. because it's like Toxic Avenger 2023, but you can't find anything except the trailer.
Wait, there's a trailer? I don't think I've even seen the trailer.
Yeah, the trailer looks fun.
Yeah, I know it's finished because like we've seen like stills from the movie.
We know
and
the
stuff.
casting, we know everything, but like, there's I can't find any record of where this thing's gonna be playing, when it's gonna be released, if it's already been released, where you can watch it.
Yeah.
I just found a bunch of obscure shit that didn't really tell me anything. Because it looks sweet.
Yeah.
It looks like it's got a good budget. It's got a great cast. Kevin fucking Bacon's in it, apparently, which I didn't know about.
It says the initial release was September 21st, 2023. So,
but that was probably just film festivals.
Yeah. So where the fuck is it otherwise?
It's got a Rotten Tomatoes score and an IMDb score.
Yeah, I know, but you can't watch it anywhere or find it or anything.
Yeah, I mean this movie exists. It's already there.
Yeah, in the aether, floating around.
It has happened.
It will be
where to
fun,
find
I
it?
think.
Don't know.
Peter Dinklage is in it too.
Yeah. But it does have. So the thing that I thought about this movie is I was concerned that it wouldn't be Troma-y enough for me, but Lloyd Kaufman, I think, is a producer and director and maybe a writer, and that's one of the dudes from Troma. So it should be plenty Troma-y, and from the fucking trailer, it looked plenty Troma-y. So,
it's directed by Macon Blair too.
Yeah.
You remember him? He was in Murder Party.
Oh shit!
And
okay.
he's in the other one too, Green Room.
Yeah.
But he's a director too. He directed I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore on
That's
Netflix.
Also really good.
Like a really good movie.
really good film.
Also with Elijah Wood. So.
God damn it! Where is this movie?
Yeah, like it's like they don't even have release plans for it on Wikipedia. They just said it was released. Like,
yeah.
But it wasn't.
So somebody out there, get your shit together because there's some people pretty excited to watch this probably fucking awesome movie.
Yeah.
It might never come to light, man.
And it's like fucking finished. Like, why?
Yeah, I don't understand. All right, so next up...
It's like Dogma. It's just gone.
Yeah. Next up, I've got Hell Comes to Frogtown from 88, something like that. It's a movie that has Roddy Piper as the main character, and it's another post-apocalyptic story. I've got a bunch of these post-apocalyptic movies. That's pretty much all I watch, I guess.
Yeah.
But in this post-apocalyptic world, all of the men are dead, basically. Women run everything, and everybody's sterile. So fertile men and or women are super prized by the existing infrastructure and government that is still around. Also, there's a bunch of mutant frog people from the whatever fucking conflict happened. And so the bit is Roddy Piper gets snatched up by some pseudo-military organization, pseudo-government organization, because he's a virile man that leaves a trail of pregnant women behind him. And they slap on a chastity belt and say, your dick's our property now, and you're going to help us go and save these fair, fertile maidens from mutant frogs. And then after which, you're going to just
impregnate all of them.
Frauds for us.
This sounds like a pretty good porno plot.
Dude, it's the post-apocalyptic quest to get Roddy Piper laid.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what it is.
And the main character's name is Hell.
Yeah, Hell. Yeah, no, it's like Hell Comes to Frogtown. Like they're trying to be clever but be literal at the same time. And it's just like, I don't even know what you guys are doing. But it's dorky as fuck. It's kind of charming in its own way. It is a world where women run everything, but they're like, oh man, look at this big fucking piece of man meat over here. We still want dick. So, no, there's a.
I kind of just want to watch it for the frog costumes.
Dude, there is a frog chick. There's a frog stripper chick that
with frog boobs.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh man.
That wants his dick and ends up saving his life somewhere.
Weird fetish incoming.
No, it's
the movie.
I did get a semi-answer on your Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
No distribution settled yet, so there's no release date. The release date that you see of September 2023 was the first time that it was shown at a film festival.
Yeah, so that's what I assumed.
I hate it when they act like that's the release date.
It's literally just a film festival review.
Yeah. It might even change, be re-edited or something.
It'll probably be Toxic Avenger 2024 by the time it comes out.
No, it will.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Hell Comes to Frogtown, pretty fun. The main lead female is Sandra Bergman, who played in like some 80s action sword and sorcery stuff. She was Red Sonja. But a few other things, I think.
Xanadu.
Yeah. She's a strange looking woman. She's not attractive, but she's very sharp and muscular.
Yeah.
So she doesn't like come off of that way, like come off as super attractive to some people. But there's a very funny scene where her character, like, they've got Rowdy Piper out there, like, strung up, and she, like, steps out to try to be alluring, and he just, like, completely ignores her. And then in the next scene, they find some fertile other woman in the wasteland. They're like, all right, you're going to have to fucking get your job done here, guy. And he's like, man, I can't do this right now. Like, I got to be in the mood. Like, this is fucked up, man. You can't force me to have sex with this lady. And so she's like, oh, don't worry, I'm trained in the arts of seduction. And so she does this, like, striptease thing. And it's just, like, one of the saddest stripteases you could ever see. You know, it's just poor training. She's way too angular for this to work anyway. And at the very end of it, she sees, like, Roddy Piper just, like shaking his head, just like, no, man. She gets all sad, and he's like, oh, man. It's okay. just put your clothes back on, and I'll get the job done. It's thank you, you know.
There apparently is a Frogtown 2.
Oh shit!
But it's just called Frogtown 2, so I don't think
it's just frogs.
I don't think Roddy is in it.
Oh, well, it loses half its charm. It is fucking Neanderthal. It really holds it together. All right. Anyway, so now if. For a tangent here, if you want to really, one of my favorite movies that also stars Roddy Piper is fucking They Live. And like,
I just bought the
it's such a good movie.
4K steel.
And he's so fucking dorky in that movie too, but it's a great film.
Yeah, I really wish it was what's his name from The Thing.
Oh yeah.
I wish he was the lead in that movie. Dude, I think I would like it a lot more. But,
it would be way better.
Yeah. Kurt Russell, yeah.
It would actually be like. It would be an infinitely better film if it was Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
It really would.
And that sucks, but
it was like Rutger Hauer.
I would take Rutger Hauer for sure on that.
Rutger Hauer, man. Have you seen The Hitcher?
They needed to have a 30-minute fight scene in an alley, and I guess like Roddy Piper is the only guy to really.
He's trained for this.
He's trained for that shit.
Have you seen The Hitcher with? Rutger Hauer?
No, I don't think I've wanted to.
Oh my god,
I've always wanted to see that film.
It's kind of hard to find. But Rutger Hauer like just owns and sells that movie. Like without him, the movie I think is pretty
he's
unnoticeable.
Kinda does that,
but he he's transforms that movie.
He's one of those weird actors that are so obscure, that are so fringy, but he's still just like you're gonna like. Have you ever seen one of his movies and you enjoyed it? It's like Rutger Hauer. All right, I'm in. Let's watch it. All right, so that was fun. And then the last things I want to talk about, I finished up watching the rest of Peter Jackson's wacky bullshit from the 80s and 90s. I watched Bad Taste last night, which was his first movie, which had all kinds of, like, very similar to Dead Alive, all kinds of wacky gore, wacky premise, just, like, super fucking over the top, as over the top as he could have afforded to be. That one was about like aliens snatching up people out of a small town to sell them to like an intergalactic fucking food chain.
Yeah.
Really fun premise.
Damn.
Wackiness abounding for sure. The one, it was, it was his first film. You could tell for sure. It had his lowest budget. It had the least experience clearly. The next film I watched just the other night, Meet the Feebles.
It's like a parody of the Muppets, right?
Yeah, basically. And it is fucking
This is also Peter Jackson?
Peter Jackson. It is wild as fuck, man. It is crazier than hell. It's about this Muppet. There's no humans at all in the world that's presented, so everybody's a Muppet of some kind. Everything that lives is a puppet. But it's this, I think... playhouse led by a producer that's like has burgeoning fame. They're about to be famous. They're about to be a big deal. They're respected, but not quite there. But like It has a nice veneer to it. It's like the Feebles Variety Hour. Where they do a bunch of shit, random things like variety hours do. And it's got like a nice veneer of being like a decently put together, friendly enough thing. But once you actually get into the production behind this company, it's a fucking shit show. Yeah. Several characters are strung out on fucking heroin. Just fucking porn being shot in the basement. The producers dealing drugs and doing all kinds of gangster shit. Cheating on his lead woman who's a fucking hippopotamus. It's wild, man. It's fucking wild. It's not. There's an elephant character that is embroiled in a scandal with a chicken, and he's birthed a child to this chicken that he claims is not his, and then they bring the chicken child in, and it's like half chicken, half elephant. The main character is a hedgehog, and he finds like porn being shot in the basement by this like creepy rat character that's like the producer's henchman, and that scene is like a cow being like a bondage cow being whipped by a cockroach. Like just the fucking most over the fucking top shit ever. Yeah.
Did you watch from a couple years ago, the Happy Time Murders?
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed that very much. So I love doing adult crazy shit with Muppets. It's fun.
Yeah.
So the movie basically is like sums up, or it culminates in the hippopotamus chick, who's the star, is in love with the walrus producer because he's kind of a creep. Like it flashes back at one point to when he finds her and he's like, "Oh, who's the pipes on this? Who's the broad with the pipes on her?" And he pitches his bit to her before he's famous because he needs talent to make him famous, like every creepy creepy producer ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, he asks her at a point, like, "How old are you?" And he's like, "Well, in 2 years, I'll be 18, but until then, I've got all these plans." And he's like, "Do your lips kiss as good as they sing?" And I'm like, "The 16-year-old hippopotamus, what are you doing, you monster walrus? Jesus." But, so she's in love with him. He's fucking around with a cat. And as all this shit's going down, this whole production's falling apart. There's a frog that's hooked on heroin. This their knife thrower who's a Vietnam veteran. Their Vietnam flashback.
Where did you watch this one?
I think I got on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
In the Vietnam flashback, all the Viet Cong are like gophers. But by the end of it, the show falls apart. And the producer is a fox. And earlier in the movie, the fox, as he knows things are like falling apart, he's like, "Oh, we got to hold the show together with my song." The walrus is like, "No, man, you can't sing your song. It's just like, they won't have it. It's just not a good idea. Just don't sing your fucking song. You don't really get told anything about the song." Then as this whole production is falling apart, Frogman killed somebody, killed himself with a fucking knife he threw up in the air, landing in his head. Just shit not going right. And the fox is like, "All right, fuck it, we're singing my song." That song is about butt fucking. It's a full musical number about sodomy and how great sodomy is, and it's okay. Like, sodomy's been around. Try it out once in a while, And like, what? Whatever, but it's just like, you're just slapped with the unexpected. Like, I didn't know what the song was going to be about, but I didn't think it was going to be about sodomy. And then right after that musical number, the hippopotamus tries to kill herself because the walrus dude fucking told her off, and she was a talentless hack, and she was fat, and yada yada. And he's going to replace her with a cat. And after a failed attempt at hanging, she is about to shoot herself, and the cat walks in as she's about to shoot herself, and is like, "Oh, don't let me interrupt you. Just go ahead. Oh, you take the safety off." And the hippo snaps, and the gun she was going to kill herself with, incidentally, is a fucking M60 machine gun, like a full fucking machine gun, like big gun. For a fucking infantry unit.
Obvious suicide choice.
Yeah, and it happened to have access to it because, again, the walrus is a gangster-ass motherfucker and has a bunch of illegal guns for his drug dealing there. So she just snaps and murders fucking everybody. Walrus included. There's only like 4 survivors. The elephant, his chicken elephant offspring. There's a worm guy that's like the stage manager. The hedgehog, and a dog love interest of the hedgehog. And incidentally, the main character, the hippo, she survives. And they do a little nice recap at the end of like where they are now, you know? And everybody's okay. And it goes to her and it's like, well, she served a 10-year prison sentence and now is working as a grocer at your local mart under a different name. Like, she killed like 50 fucking people. Jesus Christ. But yeah, it was fucking wild. And all I can think after watching Dead Alive, after watching this, is like, man, fuck the Lord of the Rings.
I mean,
Peter Jackson, give me more of this. I want this. I want this zany fucking bullshit.
His career has taken a wild turn.
It's weird,
because he's basically just now doing documentaries.
So schlock.
Yeah,
I mean, high fantasy.
Yeah, it's a wild.
Dude, that's crazy.
The last movie he directed was the third Hobbit movie. Like the last non-documentary feature, and then he did the a World War. I don't remember if it was 1 or 2 documentary.
Hobbit movies are kind of shitty.
Oh, they're all terrible.
No, I don't even. I'm not a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings either. Like they're good enough.
I mean, like at least that made sense. It was like Lord of the Rings. There are 3 books, and so there are 3 movies go through 3 books, and it's like the Hobbit is like a book that's smaller than any single Lord of the Rings book.
What really?
We need 3 movies to do the one book.
What really rubs me wrong about that whole situation is they scrapped the actual ending to the Lord of the Rings, and then they stretched one book out into 3. Fuck you guys! Like, what is that?
When in reality, they probably could have made each Lord of the Rings book a trilogy.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, for sure. That's why
I've seen the extended edition. I don't want that because it's just more walking through.
It is, and it's not that interesting. And that's what really, like, after seeing the shit he did early, I'm like, man, like,
it is. I don't know. This
was so much more fun and entertaining.
I do think he had like extreme pressure on him to do something interesting after Lord of the Rings,
right?
And maybe that's why he's walked away from fiction, because like. Maybe he just hates the pressure.
Well, you know what, Peter Jackson? If you happen to be listening to this random podcast from Northern Indiana, I want you to get back to your super fucked up, schlocky, gore porn roots and make us some fucked up shit because you were fantastic.
He needs to do Return of the Feebles.
I do.
That would be crazy.
Yes. Yeah, she can snap again.
Yeah.
She just worked in a grocery store. She can snap all over again.
Have you seen The Frighteners? With Michael J. Fox.
Did he do that one?
He did that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's fucking fantastic.
That's a really fun.
It's been a while. I haven't seen.
I
thought it was really fun.
Yeah, I remember
it being
horror
back
then. I remember it being very no, it's horror comedy. It's pure horror comedy, and it actually super tracks with the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to rewatch that because I forgot that was him.
That's a fun one.
That one is fun. It's fun. It's very fun. But so that's what I've been watching.
Nice.
A lot of post-apocalyptic schlocky gore porn bullshit.
Hell yeah.
I recommend all of them very much.
All right, Reese, you have the floor.
Okay, man.
You've been to the theater. You've probably seen everything there.
I only, shockingly, in the last 2 weeks, I only made it to the theater twice, and it was for the same movie both times. So you are right. I see everything twice, but I'm falling behind, unfortunately. I gotta. Well, I'm seeing Furiosa tomorrow, so we'll talk.
I'm going to the theater tomorrow, but I don't know if I'm seeing Furiosa or the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
I kind of hate going to movies on opening night because I don't like crowds. So
unless you're seeing like a fucking Marvel movie or something, these days in Warsaw, you're not going to get a crowd on opening night.
Yeah, but I'm thinking also like as much as I want to see Furiosa, I could just go see
Planet of the Apes and
Planet of the
empty
Apes
theater.
and have a basically empty theater.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Hey, maybe I can get a handy J out of the deal. A man can dream.
Yeah, you never know.
I'm planning on seeing Furiosa Sunday myself.
Okay.
If you can only see one, I never mind. I haven't seen Furiosa yet, but I guess I was gonna say if you're only gonna see one, I would go see Furiosa. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, I do think is totally watchable and very worth seeing. The effects are just as like they've done every single time. They've somehow upgraded what I thought was like perfect. Yeah, it's insane. The amount of shots in the movie that I just can't imagine that they are digital because they look so real.
Right.
A lot of I think they must do some amount of like prosthetics and limbs and stuff for close up on hands.
Right.
Because there's just too many scenes where the hands look perfect.
Right.
But yeah, it's the weakest of the new Planet of the Apes movies. But ultimately, I think
the weakest could still be really good though.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Of that most recent trilogy, I don't even know how to rank them. I think Rise is the best.
I think Rise is the best. Yeah.
The following two, like I find it hard to stack them. You know.
Yeah.
Like, they're both really good in their own way.
Yeah.
Like I kind of give them the same score.
I think I would just go like in reverse order of release. Like Rise is the best. Then Dawn second, War third, and Kingdom fourth. But like, you know, I still think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is better than a lot of, you know, other AAA blockbusters. So like it's and you know, I know a lot of people that they would say the opposite. They think Rise is the weakest of the movies. Because I don't know why. A lot of people don't like Rise. So you know, maybe if you're one of those people, you
best Planet of the Apes movie.
Yeah, like period.
Ever. Yeah, but sure.
But yeah, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes feels more like a fantasy movie just because of the setting. The setting is like 300 years in the future. It might as well be an alien world.
Yeah.
But it is still pretty much heavily grounded as far as the technology and everything goes. So
I'm excited to watch it because I think that, like, as far as like timeline wise, it kind of coincides with like the original 70s Planet of the Apes. You know, like enough time has gone by where this this planet of apes is like well established. Where like a lot of these newer movies are just like, you know, this is how it happened, and so it's like the beginning. So it's almost like all the previous trilogy was more like a series of prequels to the original.
I personally think that the astronauts they set up in Rise, I think they won't pay off until if they're doing a new trilogy, I think the astronauts won't show up until the third movie of this trilogy. Like I think they're really going to build slowly to that, which I think is really cool.
No, I think for something like that,
astronauts.
So Charlton Heston in the original is an astronaut from Earth, right?
So you think they're going to come back around to that?
Well, if you rewatch Rise, there's like a subplot that's happening just in the background, like on newsfeed and stuff, where they're talking about sending astronauts into space.
Okay.
So like they've already set it up. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
But you know, it's not gonna be in any way the same story.
Sure.
And I don't know how they'll do like the time difference and stuff, but I think it's gonna be really cool. So that I am encouraged. I do think the story is gonna go in an interesting place.
You got a chatter.
Just think. Who's that?
Pretty sure it's Isaiah.
Oh, Isaiah, yeah. Fucking movies. But yeah, Planet of the Apes, go see it. And then after I went and saw Planet of the Apes Kingdom for the second time, it's been like probably about 4 or 5 years since I watched Rise. So I went home and rewatched Rise.
That's on my list to watch all of them again.
Yeah.
Every single one. And it's going to be a thing I'm going to do in the next few weeks, I think.
Rise is just so solid. It is nonstop story, nonstop character development. It's 35 minutes shorter than the new one, Kingdom, but it feels like an hour longer in how much story it gets.
Rise is so detailed as an origin story that it actually makes a 70s sci-fi favorite that really doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Totally believable.
Yes. Yeah. Like it was so good as an origin story that like it made a movie that was long forgotten better.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
No, that is cool. That's super cool.
Even though I do think it's the best of the trilogy, the existence of the second and third one, like things that pay off in those movies make Rise even better because it sets up these little things that you're not even thinking like, well, what's going to happen there? You're just like, and that's part of the story.
I love diligent filmmaking.
I
love diligent writing and something of that scope.
They feel really like such a solid trilogy.
I'm hoping to see the new Planet of the Apes one way or another. Ideally, I see both Furiosa and Planet of the Apes.
I mean, yeah, hell yeah.
But My biggest thing is I really liked the character that was created in the first three films of this new trilogy. And if like without the Caesar character, I'm curious to see how they do in developing like a new hero. You know, like am I gonna give a shit compared to like doing the whole like backstory to where once upon a time he was literally just an ape and wasn't like a superhuman
ape Jesus.
Ape Jesus.
Before he became ape Jesus, he was just an ape, and like so I have that backstory that gets me there, and like I'm curious to see how I'll take to a new hero.
It's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, and that's kind of the weakest part of the new movie is I don't think there's a lot of strong characters, and wildly I do like the original trilogy has like really memorable characters.
Yeah.
For like a movie about fucking apes, it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
Planet of the Apes. I got to rewatch Oakjaw, which I had not seen since release.
I need to watch that again. Dude, it's so fucking good.
It's great director. Yeah,
it's honestly like I always kind of forget about it, but I would place it in my top 10 films.
It's great.
I think it's a wonderful film. I think it's fucking heartwarming. I think it's like exciting. I think it's just amazing performances.
I've got like 370 films in my top 10.
I know, it's so hard.
But I bought the Criterion 4K of this one, so I got to watch it like that, and it was very, very good. I got to watch it with my friend Eric, and he actually has an Oakjaw tattoo, so he is also.
I would love to do an Oakjaw tattoo. Viewers, bring me an Oakjaw tattoo.
What's Oakjaw? Is it just a giant pig?
It's the silhouette from the movie poster. It's that silhouette.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's good, but we could do better.
Yeah, you could get more creative.
We could do better.
Yeah, that's a great movie if you haven't seen it. I finally got around to watching another like big film classic, Picnic at Hanging Rock. Are you familiar at all?
No.
Sounds familiar, but I don't.
They also remade it into a miniseries like just a few years ago with Natalie Dormer from Game of Thrones.
Okay.
But it's an Australian movie. A drama based on a true story. It's directed by Peter Weir, who I don't know if you recognize the name, but he's a pretty fantastic director. He's directed The Truman Show, Dead Poets Society, Master and Commander, Witness, The Way Back. I really like him. He's just been there's some directors that just have like you've kind of accidentally watched like 80% of their filmography.
Sure.
Like, shit, I like that.
He's a director who's made movies that a lot of people like. I don't like all of his films. But he, like, I think Dead Poets Society kind of sucks. But that being said, like unequivocally, a lot of people like Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
Like, so like you're picking a fight with a lot of people by saying that it sucks. So.
The Truman Show, I assume you like.
I would like to watch
that.
Show is
pretty
Truman
good.
Show.
I would like to watch it again.
I've only seen it a couple times. And I haven't seen it.
You got to rewatch it.
I remember super enjoying it, but it is one that before really making an assertion as to its quality, I'd like to rewatch.
It's definitely worth rewatch. I'll say I really like it. Have either of you seen? I think you have. I saw it on your letterbox. But have you seen Master and Commander?
Let me see the.
Russell Crowe.
It's Russell Crowe is a fucking sea captain.
I never got around to it, but I actually really wanted to.
This is him also, and I've been wanting to do a rewatch of this one because I remember really liking it.
I do
even
like
as a
Russell
younger
Crowe.
kid.
I do like Russell.
I remember it being kind of like an epic that didn't really. It never really gave me anything to give a shit about.
It's kind of like slice of life. Living on these naval vessels in the 1800s or whatever.
Go and it was hard and give a shit. And it's
but like there's not like a villain.
Characters. And that's what it is. The Master and Commander is not an interesting character.
I think Russell Crowe and Paul Bettany's relationship is really great. Like they're because Paul Bettany plays.
This is where you seeing it more recently than me is gonna pay dividends for you and not so much for me, because I don't remember Paul Bettany even being in the movie.
Yeah, it was like one of his real early roles.
Okay,
but it's worth a rewatch. It might
I've
even
seen
come
it
up
one
podcast.
time.
Yeah,
I didn't see it in theaters. I saw it at, like the initial DVD release, probably a Blockbuster, a free take home to be able to talk intellectually about the film.
I could see this being a pick of mine at some point, because I've really been wanting to rewatch.
Yeah, I would like to rewatch and see if my opinion has changed.
Yeah. Adding it to the podcast list real quick. Okay.
Do it.
Next. Oh, I didn't even talk about. Well, anyway, Picnic at Hanging Rock is a really, really interesting movie. It is based on a true story, but I felt I felt it actually had some similarities to The Wailing. In that, like, there's like a weird aura of like, what the fuck is going on?
Right,
like,
I love those movies.
You like something supernatural feels like it's going on, but it is based on a true story, so it's not like there's demons or anything. It's super subtle. It's just like a real slow burn, but like very enjoyable. The whole time.
Nice.
It's probably on the Criterion channel. I would highly recommend it. Peter Weir, and then I just also happened to watch another Peter Weir movie that's been on my watch list for a long time. A Jeff Bridges movie called Fearless.
I don't know if I ever watched that one. I don't think I got around to that.
It's his character survives a plane crash and then like kind of becomes like absolutely fearless. Like he feels like he's survived death. Like his worst fear has happened. Like nothing can stop him now.
Right.
I liked like the emotions and the feelings I got from the movie more than I think the movie itself.
Sure.
But I think it's.
I mean, that's got to be its intention.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
so
like a It's hard to talk about and.
What's the time frame? When was that made?
1993.
93.
I was born.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I think I probably enjoyed it more than the average person would, but I still think it's worth a watch.
I mean, I'll watch anything that has Jeff Bridges in it, probably, even bad ones.
That just reminds me. You guys ever see a movie called Arlington Road?
No,
and it
I
was
don't
with
think I did.
Jeff Bridges and
Tim Robbins.
Tim Robbins. Yep.
No, my brother I think bought the DVD once, but I have not seen it.
Really solid flick that I'm gonna want to revisit.
You know, that sounds like a great pairing with
Jeff Bridges. I think I can.
If it were long, if we could do a longer pairing, that'd be a great pairing with fucking with Robin Williams.
The Fisher King.
Fisher King.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is probably about the same time frame as Fisher King.
Yeah. So Arlington Road, from what I remember, it's like Jeff Bridges plays like a. I want to say he's like a FBI or CIA.
Okay.
But it's not really about that. Tim Robbins is a neighbor that moves in like the backyard behind him. So like the neighbor behind him. And so like comes over, introduces himself, and the whole thing is Tim Robbins' character is really fucking suspicious and shady, and like so Jeff Bridges starts to believe that he's like either a spy or a terrorist.
So just a journey into paranoia, basically.
It's kind of a journey into paranoia, but like also the reason it's memorable for me is it's the best Tim Robbins performance I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen very many that are super memorable. Show me a good one, and I'll probably be
like Shawshank Redemption. Obviously, is probably the go-to. But like to me, there's a monologue where Tim Robbins like just kind of goes off verbally on Bridges, and like it is a super memorable scene. You're just like, fuck.
I mean that sounds.
Like, fuck, Tim Robbins just stole the show right there.
Yeah, that sounds intriguing as fuck.
Yeah, I think Jeff Bridges is just the kind of guy I can forget about sometimes. Like I was like, yeah, it's Jeff Bridges, and then I watch one of his movies. Like, no, I really like Jeff Bridges.
When you watch the good ones,
Road,
he's got a bunch of stinkers. He's got a good
Arlington Road. He plays the most boring character of all time. Like literally, it is hard to get on board with this guy. He's so boring.
I mean, the movies he's in though, like it's not like I go like, oh, his performance in this. It's just like, well, like no, Surf's Up was never going to be a good movie, you know.
No, but he's had some really good ones. The ones that hit hard, and that's fucking the Fisher King dude is the Fisher King is fucking fantastic. I don't know how it took me so long to watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that Fisher King Arlington Road. That'd be a neat little feature.
Bad Times, the El Royale. Have you guys seen that? That movie's...
Yeah, I have seen that.
I don't think I
saw that
have.
at the theater, actually.
Yeah.
No, I fucking missed that movie. I wanted to see that.
Just a fun
that's
movie.
one where
God
the
damn it.
trailer. I saw the trailer
no.
and I was like, that movie looks fucking awesome. And then like I went to the theater and saw it. And it's just like
It wasn't?
I didn't get anything by going to see the movie that I didn't get in the trailer. It's kind of what I felt like.
I think
it was okay.
I felt like the movie, the advertising did the movie dirty.
It did, man, and that's a real thing.
Yeah,
that we live with. If I had went into it blind and somebody's like, "Hey, you want to go see this movie?" Like, I've never heard of it. Yeah, I'll go. I probably would have enjoyed the movie more.
Oh, honestly, yeah, for sure. There was another movie recently where I was just like, you know what? Oh, Bullet Train. I felt very similar with Bullet Train, where like, the plot's not super complicated.
Yeah.
The story's not. There's not like a lot of depth to it as far as like, themes and metaphors. But like, honestly, just a fun watch.
Bullet Train,
great performance.
Bullet Train's fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
That movie's like.
Bullet Train and Train to Busan would be fun.
Although I will say, Sandra Bullock just like unsettled me at the very end.
Barely in it.
I know. It was weird. It was weird. It's like it's Sandra. It's revealed it's Sandra Bullock at the end, but it's like she doesn't look like real anymore. Like, is that not like a robot that's like made up like Sandra Bullock? Because Brad Pitt looks real.
Yeah.
By the way, for real, I think a great double feature would be Bullet Train with the Fall Guy. The new film, like. With
you got to see that, right?
Yeah.
I still haven't seen that.
Yeah, no, I think that would be because they're similar movies.
I think it's the same director, actually.
It's just kind of like action comedy.
Yeah,
but fun. It's just a really fun movie.
Yeah,
like,
you'll
enjoy the ride.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's so fun that you won't even want to.
I want a movie. I want a film to be fucking gripping, hard-hitting art. Or just goddamn a good time.
Yeah.
Like, I want one or the other. That's what I want. I want some shit that's going to make you question the fucking fabric of the world or I want some shit that's just goddamn exhilaratingly fun.
Yeah. No, John, you got to watch. You got to watch Bad Times at the Royale.
Yeah.
You're going to really like it.
Yeah.
It's just a good time.
Sweet.
There's
a hotel movie that was pretty fun too.
Hotel Artemis?
Yes.
I still haven't gotten to see that.
That was really fun as well.
Yeah.
That was super fun.
Really, it looked like just a really fun setting.
Yeah, no, it was a great premise. It was good performance.
Jodie Foster, right?
It was good cast. Yeah, no, it was very solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's when I kind of forget about, and then I get a fucking tangent. It's like, oh yeah, it was great. Should watch that too.
I watched House Party. Fine.
Yeah.
Not a lot to comment on.
Play.
Yeah. There is an entire rap song in that movie about how gross he thinks like gay sex is, and he doesn't want to get prison raped. It's like, wow, this is in the movie.
'Twas the time, yeah, it was.
And there's also characters, there's an ongoing joke that every dad in this neighborhood knows exactly how much they paid for their house. Like, because how much I paid for this house? I paid $12,500 for this house, and I'm just like, fuck you, dude. $12,000 for a house.
No, dude, do not talk to somebody in their 70s about the housing market. They'll be like, I fucking paid for my house like $5,000. Like, man, fuck off. Different times.
Property is a good investment.
Yeah, exactly. It does go
to
show that.
It's wild.
They talk about how you only
goes to
paid
show that.
$150,000 for your house.
Yeah, for sure. Buy now. Yeah, exactly. Like,
who would have thought
buy a house now
paying $50 for a house in the 40s would be a good idea?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, $50 was a lot of money back then.
I watched Blowout with John Travolta. Super interesting thriller. Just went some crazy weird places I wasn't expecting.
I haven't seen a John Travolta movie in a long time.
This is 1981, so this is...
Okay, that was when he was like still
hot.
Still good, still relevant.
Super skinny at a few points. It's like...
Oh, yeah. So he's like in his like Saturday Night Fever.
Prime Volta.
Yeah. Really interesting. It's Brian De Palma, if you guys are familiar with that director.
I've seen Scarface,
ckery,
200 times.
Mission Impossible, Dressed to Kill. Yeah. Just it's very like one of the most like directly Hitchcock inspired movies I've seen.
Okay.
Like just like, they do the thing at the beginning where they like basically show a clip of Psycho. So it's like, oh, okay, this is a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah,
like you're telegraphing and like, by the way, this is what we're going for,
Right.
Really, really kind of fun, interesting thriller.
Okay. Oh, well, that's actually kind of interesting. I like John Travolta's older shit. So
Yeah. And then last night I had the John and Shane from Karma over, and we watched a movie. We watched basically just a random pick Criterion. We watched Shock Corridor.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this movie?
I don't think so.
1963, directed by Samuel Fuller. It's about a journalist. I forgot that word completely.
People that write words about things.
A journalist who decides to pretend that he is mentally insane, so he will be institutionalized, so he can interview other
nice. I like where that's
institutionalized people, because 3 of the people in this hotel witnessed a murder, and they're the only people who witnessed this murder.
Right.
And so it goes kind of exactly where you think it's going to go. Like, oh, he pretends to be insane to go to a mental hospital, and then he goes insane because he's in a mental hospital.
Right.
But like the way it does it, it is just absolutely awesome.
I've never heard of that one. Yeah,
I would have to assume One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest was like directly inspired by this movie. So if you like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you'll like this.
Is one of the most horrendous characters you'll ever witness on screen.
Honestly. But just wildly unexpected. Highly recommended. Really, really good, like psychological thriller. That it got like much more overtly political by the end than I was expecting, and I really liked how it went there, and
the transition.
Like
cool.
The themes and stuff. Like basically everyone he interviews in the hospital about why they're insane, it's all like, well, I was a communist and then this happened, or my parents didn't give me a country to believe in and then this happened, or I'm black in America and then I went insane. It's super interesting.
I didn't toe the line and they stuffed me in here.
And it opens and closes with the same Euripides quote of what God wishes to destroy, he first makes mad, and it's like exactly what's going on in the movie. It's like fucking badass quote.
That's fantastic. That's cool.
Yeah, super recommend it. And they also do a very interesting thing because it's it's the 60s. It gets a little darker than you're expecting at times. But it's kind of
back then.
Really cool what I thought they were doing towards the beginning of the movie, where he's like pretending to be insane to get in. It's very like of the time acting, kind of like hokey and over the top, and feels kind of fake. And then as the movie goes on, his performance of being insane feels like much more believable and like spontaneous. That was a great pick.
Okay, cool. I'll put that on my list for sure.
And that's the gist of what I watched.
All right, I've just got a few things. I've only got one film, and I've got a few series I want to mention. You mentioned last week Challengers with Zendaya and a bunch of nobodies.
Yeah.
Got around to seeing that movie this week. Man, what a fucking trip of a movie, first of all. You mentioned it was a love triangle. I didn't realize exactly how deep it went. I've never really seen a movie quite like this.
Yeah.
On a variety of angles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with the music. That's really where it falls short for me. Like,
I like the music. It adds so much like tension and energy to everything.
It's not all bad. There's a lot of house music.
Yeah.
Like randomly. And it's like guys
I
playing.
mean, what adds more tension than house music, I guess.
But it's like guys playing. It's like sports ball happening here. Super tense action sports scenes happening. House music. So
it tracks one way or another.
Now, granted, along with this, we also get as far as like the sports action, we get some really sweet camera angles.
Yeah.
and I do mean that, like, legitimately. There are some pretty cool like tricks that they do with the camera. We even have one scene where like we get a POV with a tennis ball to where like basically the camera is the ball.
Right, yeah.
It goes on for entirely too long, but it's it's a cool thing that they do.
Yeah.
But really, it's about the characters. And if you're a fan of Zendaya, which I am, huge fan of Euphoria, completely opposite character for her here. I mean, I feel like Euphoria went out of their way to like basically unsexualize the character.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically she's the only one in the entire series that's not getting fucked by somebody sometime. You know, like she's basically asexual.
Yeah.
And in this, like she's just kind of a hoe. You know, like I mean she's bouncing back and forth. So the whole story is built around two friends who were doubles partners in tennis, like professional level. And it's funny because I've been a tennis fan since I was a teenager. My stepdad was really into it, and so I kind of followed professional tennis.
Right.
And it's weird because these characters like kind of remind me of like doubles, like some dude doubles partners. I mean, these guys are weird. You know, like they've got this weird relationship. They're professional tennis players, but they only play together. They don't play alone. You know? And like obviously in this movie, they're friends at the beginning, and then a girl comes between them. But what's sweet is we've all seen the movie,
and the girl comes between them.
So the thing is, we've all seen the.
I would assume
the movie where the love triangle movie, right? This is where the movie's kind of interesting. The love triangle movie, it's just like two guys are best friends. Girl comes between them. All of a sudden, the divide starts.
Mm-hmm.
That's not this movie. Like, two dudes are closer than I've ever seen two dudes. They should probably be fucking. Like, I mean, like it's a little weird how close these guys are. They're both tennis players professionally. They're doubles partners, and they're watching this other professional young up and coming. They're watching Zendaya,
professional ball slappers,
who is like an up and comer on the women's side of the bracket.
Basically, like best in the world, and she's only 18.
Yeah, and they're like watching this live.
Yeah,
right.
And both just like, oh god, they're just like commenting back and forth about like everything they're seeing. Basically, they're infatuated by the tennis, but you can tell that it's like a metaphor for like, God, I want to fuck her, you know, like she's. And they're giving you a lot of slow motion shots with Zendaya, who's actually kind of sexy.
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got all this going, and then there's never any like, well, I saw her first. Like, there's never any of that. No, they both agreed that like, oh, she's fucking fine as hell. If either one of us can get her, we're going like, and so they're both going full force, and so they basically approach her together, and like they're like trying to court her like together.
Yeah.
And it ends up being this like competition. And so she's like, okay, well, you guys have like a singles competition tomorrow. Whoever wins, I'll go out with. And so like it starts with that. And then you would think it would end there, but somebody wins. And so they start dating her and fucking her and all this. And then the other guy just never gives up. And so the guy who wins is just like, I see what you're doing. You're just like, you know that I'm a fuck up, and you're waiting for me to fuck up so you can swoop in and fuck her. He's like, well, yeah. You know, and you're like, it's just so cool because there's never been a love triangle movie quite like this where they both know that, like, they're just waiting around the corner. You know, like, like it's this whole deal.
It's not a triangle, it's just a circle, really.
It really is.
They want it to be a circle.
It's got the most ridiculous closing scene I've ever seen. I still don't even understand it. Yeah, like I feel like the least you know about tennis, the more you're going to be okay with the closing scene.
Oh, really? Because I watched the closing scene and I thought, like, I mean, it must be a tennis thing.
No, it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense, and I don't even know. It kind of ends on a freeze frame, which could go a multitude of ways. I don't really know what they were going for with that closing scene. It doesn't really make sense on any planet, on any timeline, like It's just bizarre.
They're bros, bro.
Yeah.
I think it's I mean, I have a feeling of like what it means for the plot.
Yeah.
They're finally kind of like over Zendaya, like putting Zendaya between them and realizing they just fucking love each other.
Yeah.
Because they do have like a uncomfortably close friendship of like it doesn't feel like anything could get in between.
We don't
them.
need to have sex with women. We can just have
sex
sex
with
with each other.
I mean, honestly,
I don't want to sell it like it's a negative thing. The relationship between the two dudes is actually the selling point for the film because they just do things that you otherwise would not do.
Is it really just a coming of age of these guys just like understanding that they just want to have sex with each other?
No, there's no gay sex scene.
The realization, that's what I'm saying.
The realization
through this
of
triangle,
the audience.
Do they realize that they?
No, they don't.
Not
realize
overtly.
shit.
They don't realize they're just super
They
brown
don't realize
shit.
shit.
Okay.
They're completely hetero. They both love this chick.
Well, I don't think they're completely hetero.
They're not completely
They make
hetero,
out with
but
each
in
other
their
for one
minds, they're
scene.
completely hetero. They
Okay, so all right, yeah,
with Zendaya,
they're just learning that.
I mean,
they're just coming to it, man. They're just like
I don't think that it's like a love story between the two of them.
No,
because
it isn't.
That's weird.
They're not having like
weird.
longful looks at each other.
Yeah.
No.
They're just simultaneously having longful looks at Zendaya and and they have a great friendship.
That's really it's a strange bird.
It walks the line in the right way to make it a really good movie.
Huh.
It could have easily gone the other way for me, but like I love
it's like technically as far as like performances, camera work, music, directing. I think it's a pretty great movie.
Yeah, they do some shots on the tennis court that I've never seen before that were kind of interesting. They do like kind of like an X-ray up from the ground look.
Felt very much like an anime like. It's basically like underground looking up at him, and all you see is like the lines on the tennis court. Right?
They're incidentally. I remember just like last couple of years ago, I remember seeing some anime about tennis getting popular, and honestly, it sounds very anime.
Yeah, honestly,
it really does.
There's a lot of
challengers.
There's
could
a lot of
easily be
flashbacks
an anime.
in this because basically. The present day happens in a total of like 15 minutes worth of shots. And then so the majority of the movie is various flashbacks.
It's basically, roughly, it's like when they're 18 and then when they're 31 and then like kind of somewhere in the middle of that.
And the one dude who was like on the losing cause of how the whole thing shook out because... Like it takes place, like they haven't spoken in a while. They're not really friends anymore because somebody actually won and got the girl, and then somebody else obviously was the loser. And the guy who was the loser is like sleeping out of his car. He's like, he's a professional tennis player, but really he's just like driving from tournament to tournament.
Yeah.
He's not really like
he can't pay for the hotel until he wins the competition. It's pretty like. Now, I do appreciate that the one character calls him out. Like, dude, your parents are rich. What are you doing? Call them. Like, okay, it instantly makes it like, okay, you dick. Call your parents.
Yeah. But, like, the weird thing is that, like, you think about it, and, like, I'm thinking about the movie after it's over, and it's like, all the characters are terrible people.
Yeah.
Why do I care about any of them, let alone all of them?
Yeah.
And so that to me was the real like tour de force for the film. They made me care about a bunch of horrible people for 2.5 hours.
No. I think that is a hallmark of like a truly great piece of art is to make you give a fuck about people that you have no business giving a fuck.
And honestly, the dude that's like the womanizing dude that lives out of his car and is like trying to like he's probably my favorite. Like he's the most likable character, and he's kind of a dirtbag.
Yeah,
he's very much a dirtbag.
Yeah, he definitely gets done dirty a lot by his friend. Because his friend, literally.
I'll tell you, I think the actual worst character might actually be Zendaya.
Yeah,
like she's just kind of like she doesn't really give a fuck, Like the one dude's just like, tell me that if I lose to him tomorrow, that it'll be okay.
And she's like, nope.
She's like, if you lose to him tomorrow, I'm gonna leave you.
Yeah,
just like fuck.
Yeah,
the guy just wants a little peace of mind here. He just wants you to take the pressure off.
Nope.
Yeah. And I do think it's kind of like a perfect pairing with Past Lives. It's kind of like super similar, like the threesome, not threesome, the love triangle, and like really
very, very different,
really character driven, but like completely opposite, where the characters are all like scared and sad and miserable, and you're like very sympathetic with them. And they're all like not doing the things they want to do, of like leaving their husband or cheating or you know, asking her to divorce her husband. You know, it's but and wildly, they are written by Challengers is written by the husband of the woman who wrote Past Lives. It's very interesting. I wonder if this couple has been going through some like trying to open up their relationship or something, and it's going terribly for them, or really well. I don't know.
Anyway, long story short, really big fan of Challengers. I had a lot of fun with it. There are some spots that definitely made me shake my head, but as far as like really just story wise and characters, like I said, making me give a shit about characters. So at the end of the day, I think about it, and they're all kind of just terrible people, and I kind of cared about all of them at the end, and that's so hard to do. Like people don't even realize how hard that is to do.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I got a few series. That's the only like really movie other than what we're going to discuss in the
feature here in
just a few minutes. But I started watching Reservation Dogs.
Oh I watched.
Like, I wanted to watch that.
The first 3 episodes, I think. I really liked it.
Really fucking fun series. It's about a group of teenagers that live on a like reservation in Oklahoma called the Village, and basically about like how they're just like trying to like lie, cheat, and steal their way to a better life, and they want to like basically they're trying to do a bunch of I mean they're definitely going for a Reservoir Dogs theme. Like even the logo, like in the beginning credits, looks like Reservoir Dogs logo. Like they're definitely going for that feel.
But they're doing like little like crimes and
they're
cons
little crimes
and
like
stuff.
stealing trucks and like all these little things to try to like save up money.
Right.
And really good characters. Really good delve into like Native American culture, and they did get like what few Native American actors we have. They're all here. You've seen most of them before,
but a lot of people
they're like, all here.
A lot of people you've never seen before and never would see. They're very like.
Yeah,
I feel like if this show didn't exist, these people wouldn't be acting, type of thing. You know, like some of the real looking. There's a couple of twins. They're just very weird,
twins,
interesting
native
looking
twins.
People.
There's one random blonde haired white kid that just happens to be there. I don't know. He's in one of the gangs, one of the Indian gangs.
He's some
totally not
some
Indian,
fucking
but
poor kid that lives in a trailer park in the small town next to the reservation. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was. From what I've seen so far, it just seems like a really fun watch. Really high quality shit altogether. Good storytelling, good characters, a lot of good humor. I finished the series, the season 1 of Sugar. I don't want to say a whole lot about it. I think that you should watch it, and there's just too much to give away by saying.
Where is that on?
Sugar
TV.
Is on Apple TV.
Apple. Fuck, there's a bunch of stuff on Apple.
That's the Colin Farrell series. The biggest draw, honestly, and it got so much better. The cutaway scenes to like classic films.
Yeah, you were talking. Yes,
they started doing
like to watch this.
Like the last few episodes had some like Hitchcockian stuff. They had like a lot of Jimmy Stewart like. Right. It's just so good because you'll be watching a scene and like something will be happening, and then it'll immediately the main character just has this love for film, and so like. He's trying to do something, it'll just immediately cut away to like a classic scene where they're in a similar situation, you know, and it's just so cool the way that they do it.
Yeah, I want to check that out.
Really fun series. And then this series is only a few episodes in, so I don't know a whole lot about it yet, but Dark Matter also an Apple TV series.
Is that Apple?
Oh, Joel Edgerton
and
Jennifer Connelly.
Did that start somewhere else, or is this? It's only on Apple.
Maybe I was wrong and it's not Apple. I don't know. I thought it was Apple. I could be wrong.
Dark Matter. Are you thinking of?
It's brand new.
What was that?
Must not be what I'm thinking of, but it sounds.
I think that there's.
There was a show based on that young adult series.
It's like the Dark Material.
Dark Materials.
Yeah,
that was
maybe
his Dark Materials.
Yeah, that's a different thing. But so this is interesting. Joel Edgerton basically plays a physicist who's pretty successful, and he's married to Jennifer Connelly, which makes him even more successful because she's oh my god, Jennifer Connelly. Jesus Christ, dude! Like she will end up being the first, what is it?
Octogenarian
Jilf grandmother.
Great grandmother.
She will probably be the first one. Oh my god, man! She's always sexy, but so mature at the same time. I feel like I got wiser.
Yeah,
oogling her. It's a thing. But anyway, so this whole deal of Dark Matter, and granted, there's only a few episodes released, so I don't have a lot of info. But basically, Joel Edgerton, really good physicist, has this nice marriage. It's grown a little stale with Jennifer Connelly. Gets kidnapped in the first episode by an alternate version of himself from an alternate reality.
Oh, alternate reality stuff.
And this alternate reality version of himself started out with a relationship with Jennifer Connelly, but instead focused on his work and found a way to travel between realities.
Now he wants both.
And then realized that he's wasted his life figuring out how to travel between realities, and what he really wants is just fuck Jennifer Connelly. And so he basically...
Oh, man, can you imagine?
So he basically swaps places with the Joel Edgerton that's married to Jennifer Connelly. Well, what's interesting about this, I'm giving you the 3-episode synopsis here. What's interesting about this is it's told from the viewpoint of the guy who's married to Jennifer Connelly. So basically this guy just gets kidnapped by somebody he didn't know, wakes up in an alternate reality where he sees all the people that he already knows, but nothing makes sense to him. So he's just really fucking confused.
Yeah.
And so my guess is that he's going to have to spend the next several years learning what the other guy spent several years learning.
Yeah.
In order to get back to the, so it's going to be this but so far it's only a few episodes in. Super fucking fun, super interesting. Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Connelly kill it. Really good series, a really good promising start to a series. So
that's also Apple TV.
It's also Apple TV.
Man,
they're just
their sci-fi department.
They're pumping them out in the sci-fi department for sure.
No, there's a list of shit for me now that I need to watch. Absolutely.
All right, so that's it for Ben watching. So that brings us to a feature.
The feature.
And John Brown, this was your call.
It was. It's a Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I've been wanting to do... We haven't done Western stuff yet, and we haven't really done... Have we done an anthology? I don't think we...
No, and we also haven't done a Coen Brothers
Heavy Metal.
Heavy Metal, yeah. So, so drastic change. Our second anthology, but very much different.
Yeah.
Although very kind of the same, really. In as far as the nature of the subject matter.
Yeah.
In the stories told.
They all involve death. Yeah, people getting shot.
A lot of very classic elements, just comedy, tragedy, action.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's a Western movie that kind of sums up the Western experience and a lot of what you would know about the Western experience. I guess in that sense, it probably could use a little bit more action, because it has some action, but not
It's pretty front heavy with the action.
I mean, it's a Coen Brothers movie, and it has as much action as you could expect from a Coen Brothers movie.
Right? Yeah. It has definitely enough, but just thinking of Westerns in general, you might think of more action involved, and this touches on more of the rest of it. But it's a fucking wonderful film. It definitely sums up a lot of the Western experience, though. In general, you get your action, you get your comedy, you get your setting, your atmosphere, beautiful fucking shots of beautiful countryside. It's just It's a fucking gem, dude.
I believe it's 6 parts total. So
5.
Is that right?
Yeah, yes.
I've got a list here.
6.
Yes.
I would have thought 7.
So we got the first
As
one.
illustrated by the poster here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I
6.
wow! I didn't even realize that.
So the 6 I got. So the first one is
Do you want
Buster
the
Scruggs himself, and then we've got a bank robbery, and then we've got the last 4. I've actually got the titles to the episode, and so number 3 is Meal Ticket. Number 4, All Gold Canyon. Number 5, The Gal That Got Rattled, and 6, The Mortal Remains.
You want the letterbox?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's get the letterbox.
The Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That's pretty good.
2018, directed by Joel Cohen and Ethan Cohen.
Also known as
the Coen brothers. Vignettes weaving together the stories of 6 individuals in the Old West at the end of the Civil War, following the tales of a sharpshooting songster, a wannabe bank robber, 2 weary traveling performers, a lone gold prospector, a woman traveling the West to an uncertain future, and a motley crew of strangers undertaking a carriage ride. Stories live forever. People don't.
That was pretty good.
That's pretty good. It's fantastic.
I forbid you to speak in any other voice for the rest of the podcast.
We're just gonna have to keep doing westerns, I guess. No, that's a good synopsis for sure, and that last line, stories live forever and people don't. That's perfect.
Samweiler channeling his inner
I think stories live forever, people don't. Again, could apply to quite a few movies, but I do think
it hits really hard
works
for what this is, and especially the first story of Buster Scruggs, the gunman, the shooter,
that one's really fun.
It is, and it's it's funny when we watched it the other day. When it starts out, it's it seems a little heavy, but as soon as you get a little bit into it, it's just you're all right, let's go. All right, this feels a little dorky at first, but then you're just there.
The first gunfight draw scene where he's got a mirror and he's looking behind him. He's well, okay, so you got the wind this direction.
Yeah.
It's and it is in the mirror, so it's the opposite angle. But
then again, I'm holding it upside down.
Yeah, just the most gangster of gunfighter, and all the bits leading up to that point, and just the guy's amicable nature, and it's so much fun.
His kind of I can't, or you kind of hate that you love him. Every time he's just I don't want to kill you. Well,
I guess I got a big smile and sunny disposition.
That's the best bit, man. Is after you get introduced to this dude fucking singing a song and passing his time by singing the song, a little monologue to you, the viewer, and the first place he gets to is the little fucking rickety cantina. It's there's a cantina over there, and it's a fucking room, a room with some tables and one bar. But now he's guy comes in, wants to think he's not a lawman, or wants to think he's a lawman of some kind. No, I'm an outlaw. I'm through and through an outlaw, and then he fucking proves it.
Yeah,
in very short,
over and over and over again.
Yeah, very short fashion. Just takes this crew of guys out. Little bits of filmmaking fun when he walks into the cantina and pats his chest, get the dust off,
and it's his silhouette. It's so
the timing
funny
on that, super fun.
Gave me a very Wile-E.
This story especially kind of maybe the only one of the stories, but is very Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it captures cartoon. The ridiculousness of some of the Western. Of the Western.
Same
vibe,
with when he dies, and by the way, streaming on Netflix. Go watch it.
Yes.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
When he dies and he's got the harp and the
angel
wings.
It's super cartoony, but it flows super well.
Yeah.
The scene. So after the cantina, he gets to an actual town and goes into an actual cantina, and he ropes himself into a poker game that he tries to back out of. And upon backing out of said poker game, gets into a gunfight with. I love that dude too. He played the.
Tim, the Buster Scruggs?
No. I love him, but the guy that he gets into the short altercation with at the poker table, He played in.
Clancy Brown.
Yes, thank
Clancy
you.
Brown's the best.
He's got a lot of cool. Actually, there's a really cool horror anthology with Clancy Brown that I just watched really recently. That was actually really good too.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a poker game with Clancy Brown, and then dispatches him in the most fucking cartoonish comedic.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
He does not have a gun, and Clancy Brown steps up from the poker table that he's trying to get Buster to play at, but Buster doesn't want to, and draws on Buster, and Buster kills him with a fucking plank of wood on the table, shooting him in the face 3 times until he falls. And my favorite part of the first story is the transition after blasting him in the face 3 times with his own gun, using a plank of wood on a poker table, gets into a raucous song involving the entire establishment with just like the most, just so smooth. Like as soon as he falls and hits the ground, he starts fucking into a starting to be a mellow song about the death of this guy, and then everybody in the joint just fucking joins in, and everybody's having a fucking great time. And he's dancing on the bar and singing, and like the brother of the person that was just fucking murdered comes in crying, and everybody's just fucking having the best time singing about his dirtbag brother that just died.
I like his. Well, technically, it was a suicide.
Yeah, so good.
If there was like, and the Coen brothers had their vision and stuff. It's not like you can tell them what they did wrong. But if there's one thing I could change about this movie, I wish Buster Scruggs was like the framing device of him telling stories.
Yeah.
And then we could get little bursts of Buster Scruggs throughout the movie.
For sure.
He's such a funny fucking character.
You do want a little bit more.
Yeah.
He has a great outro. After this scene, he gets challenged to a gunfight with a brother of the guy he just killed with a fucking poker table. And of course, make short work, as Dustin said. A great scene where he's fucking shooting backwards in a fucking mirror in bad wind with an upside down gun. And then immediately after this, I
want a Buster Scruggs prequel.
Oh, dude, it'd be great.
That would be awesome.
And a sequel with a guy that bests him. As soon as he takes down this easy prey, he hears a whistling on the window. That's one of my favorite parts of that story, is when he hears the whistling of the person who bests him. Like, you see in Buster Scruggs that he, like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's somebody. This is real, like, he just, the character still tries to play off that he's Buster Scruggs, and he does play Buster Scruggs, but I feel like you can tell in that moment that he really, like, knows that this is real shit, and then he gets got. And then they join together in song after Buster dies. And it's just wonderful. It's a big part of Western, like, lore and culture, kind of just pocketed into this little tiny thing, because there's always somebody better, and it's just a great telling of it. Perfect.
We don't have a prequel. We don't have a follow up, but what we do have is part 2.
We do.
Scene 2.
Oh, yeah.
Story 2.
I thought you were literally about to announce something.
Which is this bank robbery pots and pans thing.
Pan shot.
It's such a memorable. It's honestly not even like the main gist of. It's a pretty small part of that story.
Yeah,
but the pan
it's
shot,
so fun. The setup is
I would have
fun.
guessed that segment was called Pan Shot.
What's
Oh my god, everyone knows this actor
from The Office. Have you seen much Stapler?
It's a Stapler guy from The Office. He's been in so many.
Oh, so many things.
Where is his thing?
He's a fantastic.
He is.
Character actor.
No, he is, and this is definitely one of my favorites.
Oh, Stephen Root.
Because he fucking just owns this thing so well. He owns this role so well.
He's also, if you guys have seen the TV show Barry with Bill Hader.
Oh yeah,
He is fantastic in that show.
Yeah. So anyway,
oh my god, Stephen Root. Also, probably career best performance by James Franco in the same segment.
Yeah, it's solid for sure from him. Yeah.
James Franco is a bank robber, and the bank is hilarious because it's literally just a little hut.
No, it is. It is a hut in the middle of nowhere. It's the tiniest thing you could ever see.
By the way, a common thing with this film is structures way smaller on the outside than they are on the inside.
Very funny.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Which plays into the cartoonish nature
structure
of it
that's
all.
roughly twice as big as he is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which, I mean, it's a fun play on, like, the idea of a Western, like Western movies specifically, because, like, you get into how many Western movies do you see? You see the set of the guy rolling into town, these tiny buildings.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's so true to the idea.
It's always like boardwalk style. With
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, it's this huge place.
There has to be like a dozen of those like sets that are just permanently up with how many Westerns we shoot.
Forgotten about somewhere. No, the setting is great. I love the well because like outside of this tiny little bank, there's this super janky little well. And it's just like bad water. Like there's nothing here.
Bad water.
Yeah, there's nothing here. You don't even get water here. But you're gonna come to a fucking bank. I'm not gonna go to a bank that has bad water. Like, you have money?
I like that he goes in the bank and like the dude's like immediately just like right there, like ready.
Oh yeah, no, he's just raring to go.
He's on it. And what I love is like he walks in and you know like you get the gist like this is gonna be a bank robbery kind of a situation. You get what he's about, but he asked him, he was like, hey, you ever been robbed?
Yeah, their little exchange of stories
like,
is so fun.
A couple of times. Well, I would say that they were robbery attempts, really. And then he talks about how he like murdered a couple people that tried to rob him. This should be foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Like, this should be a red flag.
It should be, but I mean, he's like the mousiest little character.
Yeah.
You know, and this guy.
He's adorable.
No, he is. No, after this little exchange of stories being told, you know, Franco pulls a gun and is like, "Oh, give me all you got." He's like, "Well, I gotta lean down if you want me to get the money." He's
Big
like,
bills.
Okay, and immediately shots ring out. He's got shots go out. James jumping up, fucking climbs the wall, looks over the counter, and sees 3 rigged shotguns in front of every teller booth, which is fantastic. But when he pops over, there's just like dust and an open door swinging.
And he's like, yeah!
Yeah, this mousy little dude is just gone. Like, he's done this shit before. I love that scene. It's so fun. He tries to get out as grabs money, goes, gets shot on the way out, and huddles behind the bad water well, I think. And then they have a fun little gunfight where the bank teller pretty much immediately scurries out, and he's just like the most brazen motherfucker ever, covered in pots and pans and washboards.
He's made himself armor out of pots and pans.
And it's like infallible, like, and he doesn't even give a fuck. He's completely confident. Like, it's really not great armor. Like, you probably still gonna get shot. He doesn't care.
His face, as usual, his face is fully exposed.
Yeah, running straight ahead.
How many shots James Franco shoots at
Dude,
him? And how many?
Like a full
dude, like it was
revolver,
it was around
like 6
4.
shots
Yeah,
at
it was
least.
around 4 every time.
Handshot!
Yeah, I loved it because he just
God.
didn't give a fuck. He wasn't hesitant or anything. He's like, he's done this before. How many
Like the
fucking
greatest banker of all time.
Yeah, dude. For real. Whoever, if he's not the owner, man, that motherfucker deserves a raise. So, and then it comes to a super. So Franco gets, of course, captured, and then we come to a hanging scene, and this is great too. It's a pretty classic hanging scene, you know, fucking lawman around, Marshall presumably, and a bunch of guys, his posse. It's actually a really fun scene too when they get into it about the horse. When he's about to be hung, like, I want his horse. Well,
No, you can't have my horse.
You want to give one of these guys your horse? It's like, it's a practical question.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'd probably ask that. Like, you're going to die anyway. Saves me some bullshit. But incidentally intervened by Indian posse, murders everybody.
Mm-hmm. Except Franco.
Except him, leaves him alive. And that exchange is funny, too, with the chief.
Scares the horse intentionally.
Yeah, no, you get this super dramatic moment where presumably the chief or just the war party leader just rolls up super slow to Franco, stares him dead in the eye, this tense moment, and he just fucking yells at him and trots off fucking laughing. And then the next few bits is the horse just very gradually trying to eat some grass.
Further and further away.
The tension of that was super fun.
Also, just the visual. There's so many great, just like, visuals.
Dude, this whole film is just chock full of just good-looking landscape. Like, if you want just some nice landscape to look at, you know, that's kind of the allure of Western films anyways.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like I can see like every like classic American painting that the cinematography is inspired by.
Yeah, for sure. One of the later stories really hits on that for sure. But
the gold miner.
Yeah,
I felt like a lot of his like I love when a movie feels like has very intentional matte paintings.
Right.
And I felt like even with Buster Scruggs, where you could see like a cutoff of like where like the real dirt stopped, and then behind it looked like a very like high quality digital matte painting, but like they made it intentional where you could see the cutoff. And I love that.
Works so well. And one thing too, like something we didn't talk about, a little fucking tangent backwards here. But the mode of storytelling as they introduce each story with the actual story book.
Yeah.
And like the fucking artwork for the start of each chapter.
With flavor text.
The flavor text. Yeah, the quote to begin with. Yeah, you start with that. Yeah. And it's just super, it's the most well done I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
Like it's super tasteful. It's
There's not a narrator.
No, you just see the pages turning and you get to read a little bit of text, and the artwork for each page was fantastic, and the last line of each story is great.
Yeah.
Fun part of the film.
There's kind of like a little Easter egg too because between each chapter you see like the last page of the last chapter, and you can like read a little
catch a little bit,
and it's like like one of them had like the inner monologue of the character of like it was the scared woman one.
Right.
You didn't know how this conversation was gonna go, but it was a fun little thing.
No, super fun. So after the Indian attack though, getting back to task at hand, the bank robbery. That's again just more fun. As soon as he ends up getting free, thankfully.
Yeah, with some assistance from
with some assistance. He was about there. He's about fucking gone, and so a random stranger rides up, frees him, and he thinks he's on a fucking job. This guy's offering him a job, moving this cattle from here to here. I had a cattle driver, I guess.
Cowboy.
And so he's like, fuck yeah, seems great, working out for him. Well, turns out that guy's an asshole too, and stole all the cattle. So he gets thrown upon by a posse again. And next scene, that scene's great too.
Yeah.
Just so hard not to go through this, just like scene by scene. The hanging is super great.
The first time.
Yeah, so hard not to talk about everything.
Yeah.
Up there, surveying the crowd, and everybody else, guy next to him, pissing himself, and he just has to look over and watch. Yeah, it's all right, man. I love the out though. I love the last thing that happens before all this is he scans the crowd and finds just a pretty girl to look at.
Yeah.
And he just has a little moment, and like then he drops.
Yeah.
Neck snaps, and like as he's on the way out, like, oh, there it is. There's a pretty girl. Like, that's pretty much the only thing you could hope for in that moment.
Something pretty to look at.
One of our first rendezvous for this podcast, we watched an old Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get a lot of vibes of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Episode. The occurrence at Albridge or whatever.
Yeah.
Because the occurrence at Albridge was like, was that like a loop thing or like?
No, he like dreams he's getting away, and then
snap. The thing is the rope breaks and he starts running.
So like,
home.
What's great?
Right when he gets to his home, he fucking falls.
What's great about that is that
the rope actually breaking his neck.
That could be a trigger for that. Like,
this,
finding that little bit of solace at the very end could trigger this fucking dream state, and then you just die anyway.
Yeah.
No, they're very that's
he awesome. Just needed to. It's like feels like almost like a sci-fi plot of like a guy figures out where if he can start having a fantasy about something before he dies,
the deepest rabbit
actually
hole.
continue living.
So it's hard to describe the fun of that episode. It's harder to describe the fun of the first chapter of this story.
These two, I feel like, are the least like narrative. There's not as much of like a narrative.
Yeah, no, these are very much just like experiences.
Yeah,
fun experiences in the West. There is a very drastic shift because the next one's Meal Ticket, right?
Yeah,
Meal Ticket.
Super drastic shift. You've been having a really good time. Well, guess what?
No laughs in Meal Ticket.
You're gonna feel bad. It's intense. I forgot about this episode a lot.
Me too.
As soon as I watched it, it was familiar, but I didn't know exactly where it was going.
Yeah, Meal Ticket is about Liam Neeson, the entertainment mogul, who is who is basically got in the back of his wagon a quadriplegic who does Shakespearean type
the reveal of the
Very
character is super, like, it's very gripping because you only see at first of just like an entertainer's cart, you know, setting up the show, setting up the stage, putting up the lights, all this, close the curtains, and then your introduction to the character is on stage. Like, I really loved that shot. That was really nice. It was really well done with a perfect lighting. Goes directly into the super dramatic Shakespearean monologue. Yeah, like, it was cool.
Yeah. And the I don't know the actor's name who plays he was in
Harry
Melling.
Melling?
He was in the Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. He's a real interesting actor because he's a child actor in the Harry Potter series.
Really?
Okay.
He's Dudley in the Harry Potter series.
Okay. What's notable about him is he's not a very good looking man.
He's a very interesting looking man.
Oh, he's a very British looking man.
He's got like a weird, like a quirky, weird kind of cute look to it.
I feel like if he was a good looking man.
Sounds British, right?
Yeah, he is British. Yeah.
No. I think he's
if
like
he was a good looking man, he would have not have gotten the role in the Queen's
If he had a
Gambit.
southern accent, people wouldn't want to talk to him ever.
Everyone would be confused.
Gather around! I got to tell you about what Abe Lincoln said the other night.
Yeah.
He gets by on his British accent for sure, but he's a great actor.
For sure. This
sells it here for sure.
But he's like
the performance in this is fantastic.
Yeah, he's kind of reemerged lately, and he's like showing up. I mean, he's working with the Coens. He was also in the Tragedy of Macbeth.
Nice.
I do want to say, I think Meal Ticket is by far the darkest.
Oh, it's super.
I mean,
you don't know exactly. So you don't know exactly where this is going, other than survival. But the really interesting thing to me is you don't know, they don't tell you and you can't know where it comes from.
What you see is this quadriplegic
and that mystery is cool.
He's at the mercy of Liam Neeson because,
he's basically like a circus freak for Liam Neeson.
It's a one-man freak show.
And he gets hand-fed by Liam Neeson, who will, like when in the scenes where he's being fed is like, hurry up because this is an inconvenience.
Yeah. It goes through the gamut too of the care for him. Like he has to fucking help him piss and just everything. It gives you one of the cruelest things. There's a lot of this in this film actually. Is there's like a tiny bit of hope at the beginning. Yeah. Right. Because in the first, you see the really powerful, moving performance from the character. And it's wonderfully spoken, and it's really awesome. And the crowd gathers, a good crowd gathers. Yeah. Everybody's fucking super like into it and pays well at the end. It's like, oh, okay, all right. And then it's just like,
yeah. And there is at some point you get kind of like a caring relationship vibe, you do. He's a caregiver for him. Like you wouldn't be doing this if you didn't care about this person.
He's super inconvenienced,
and then that disappears really quickly.
No, it changes. Yeah, no, it is super like real. It really it's a very raw experience, right? Yeah. Like you get all of it. You get every bit of it pretty flatly.
So we get several performances. And then, like, you start to see how, like, in every performance, the crowd starts to dwindle a little bit. And then in the last one, there's, like, 2 people watching, and nobody wants to tip anything. So it makes, like, no money.
Yeah.
And he hears a big crowd.
Yeah, there's a big crowd. And the crowd is over a chicken who's...
can do math.
Can do math, yeah. And that's all it takes.
Which, man, is that a real thing? Like, how did they fucking do that with the chicken?
So my question was right after that, you see him buying said chicken.
Yeah.
And my first thought after buying said chicken is like, I really hope you did some independent chicken testing. Like, did you call out numbers to the chicken?
Well, that's like it gets even darker because like you get the idea by the end of the short that like, oh, he didn't buy the chicken. I don't think he bought the chicken to do the show. I think he bought the chicken to just eat the chicken.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I'm done with you. I'm fucking like retiring. I'm eating this fucking chicken. Because like, yeah, you idiot. I don't think you need to have the knowledge of how to train the bird. I don't think you can just you a dumbass that doesn't know how the chicken works?
The telling point was when he's got this like
big bag of chicken feed. He opens it up and he just takes a handful out and just scatters it on the ground. And then like he's got the quadriplegic over it. He's like, oh, this guy needs to eat. And then he thinks about it for a second. He's just like, man, this is so much more work.
Yeah. I just need a bag of shit.
Oh man, you're really a bummer, man. I don't like taking care of you, man. So, what the hell?
So what we have here is a man being thrown into a river.
Yeah.
For the sake of a chicken, and he, his performances there, like after with each stage, because you get a scene of him, a shot of him just riding in the back. So that's all he can do is just ride in the back.
Yeah,
and just sits there and
looking
watches.
absolutely miserable. Because why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, and the things that are added to that scene, and like his expression of the realization of every part of what was happening was pretty good.
Yeah, it's I think this segment is a perfect example of like, oh, this movie should be a segment in an anthology. This would be a miserable 90-minute movie to watch.
Yeah. But like, it's fun because
two segments are a completely different vibe. Than the
it's a 360.
It's a course correction here.
Yeah. I really like Meal Ticket, but yeah.
It's fucked up.
Liam Neeson, man, such an interesting character for him.
yeah, it's pretty out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So following Meal Ticket, we go to All Gold Canyon.
All Gold Canyon.
Which, I mean, this is the reason that you picked the movie, right, John? Like
Tom Waits.
Well, it's one of them.
Tom Waits. I
mean, that was more incidental, but I love Tom Waits in a movie, and most movies that Tom Waits in are fucking cool, and I didn't want to get under my belt, but I want to get the Western thing under the belt. That was a big part. But Tom Waits is a huge plus.
This isn't the first Tom Waits, is it?
One of the favorites of the 6 segments.
No, I don't think so.
Near the top. This is a really good one.
I love this one, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Waits is so fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
And this one's fucking gorgeous, too. This is the one that has the just default beautiful Western backdrop.
National Geographic's got nothing on the Coen brothers in All Gold Canyon.
Yeah, the shot of him standing at the top of the tree and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
just this old man fucking gold miner. I love too to just watch the process.
Yeah,
it's kind of satisfying.
I can do that.
It felt like a fucking watching a YouTube video or something of somebody
how to be a prospector.
Building something.
Yeah, those videos of guys building primitive pools out in the forest.
It kind of felt like that, where you could just okay.
I didn't know that's how you did that.
This is interesting. No, it's his when he comes into the valley is pretty fun too. It's just the most perfect Disney level cartoon valley with majestic creatures in exactly their natural habitat.
Yeah.
Just being super happy, and then you hear, I think he's singing. He's singing a super guttural Tom Waitsy singing of a song, which is pretty charming because it's. You play that shit for people, they're like, what the fuck are you listening to? Who is this guy? But and just everything departs. Just snap. Every butterfly, every little
all the deer,
butterflies,
the birds,
the deer, they're all just fucking peace out.
Yeah. I feel like each segment is literally built around, except for maybe the last one, I don't know. It's shattering the myths of people who romanticize the Old West. It's hey, by the way, every part of this sucked.
Yeah, no, everyone dies. You should be afraid all the time.
That's a good point that I hadn't considered.
On top of the fact that living there sucked, by the way, us being there sucked too. He just goes to this beautiful valley and just destroys it, gets what he wants, and leaves.
Just Buffalo, man. Stories of people just riding on trains, just everybody hanging out of the train, just fucking shooting at Buffalo, get them.
God.
Murder these things.
I like that it starts with him panning in the river, and it's just
one
little flake, and then he moves up, and it's 2 flakes, and
that
it's
process.
5 flakes, and
and then
he gets to the point where it's just now it's starting to go down, so this is kind of the middle, and then he goes
inland.
These maps and it was super satisfying to watch it. Like,
and
you felt it because
that's how that would work.
And the whole time too, what's fun about the character is like he's like the oldest fucking man. You know,
that's the other thing. I'm like, dude, what are you doing this for? Like, you don't got long to live, buddy.
That's the gold rush, though. It's like gold rush is just like people just said, "Fuck everything I've been doing my whole life.
I can do this
opportunity. Anybody can do this."
Yeah. No, he was so endearing because you could tell it was just it. Like, this is it. Yeah. This is it for this motherfucker right now. This is it.
This is my retirement plan.
This is the only thing he's doing. And so the whole time too, he has a narrative in his old man mode with the pocket of gold that he finds. Like every night he's talking to it as he works. Like he's building a relationship with this thing.
Coming for you, Mr. Pocket.
I'm getting you. You know, like that was super cool.
Yeah.
So he eventually does the math, reads the angles, finds the pocket, and just as he finds the pocket,
he big chunks did all the hard work. This motherfucker dug like a 6-foot hole.
Yeah.
You know?
Multiple holes.
Yeah. He's like deep
holes,
now.
But one super deep hole.
Hard fucking work.
And finds a pretty nice chunk of gold, even for people who might not really comprehend or understand like the value of gold. It's pretty easy to go, oh, that's a lot of gold.
that's a millionaire.
Yeah. I also like, this is the smallest cast of all the segments, and the characters include Prospector and Young Man.
Yeah.
So Young Man
shows up.
Shows up as a shadow, just as he's kind of finding the pocket.
The hint. He sees it a little bit. Like he kind of knows what's coming, and then it happens.
Yep. Shot in the back. And there's this weird, like, little thing that happens right after he shoots him in the back where, like, you
get a little bit of character out of the shooter.
Yeah. No, you do. Like Tom Waits' character falls forward, and you see the bullet hole in his back, and you see, like, this ever-growing, like,
pool of blood on his shirt. Yeah.
It just keeps growing and growing, and this, this thug behind him, the young man, is very careful and waits a long time.
Smoke break.
Yeah. Well, I think
he sits there and smokes a cigarette, just waits for that blood.
I feel like a degree he's like pondering, and I feel like that's where I feel like you get character for the shooter.
Yeah.
Is because like he doesn't just jump down like a goon or a thug. Like a goon or a thug would just like jump down and move the fucking body.
What's next?
I feel like there was a bit of like, oh fuck, like I murdered somebody. Like either a bit of uncomfortability, lack of experience in doing so, but something.
Obviously, lack of experience.
Yeah. He just
one shot.
You just shoot him again. So yeah, I feel like it clearly the character was affected.
Yeah.
So that creates. It's fun that you get a little bit of character.
Yeah, it felt a little bit like, well, this is a bit of a predicament.
Yeah.
Like, let's think about this.
He finally jumps down in there, and after smoking a cigarette and taking some time, and he's gonna dispose of the body, you assume. But then Tom Waits been playing possum this whole time, and is right there to jack this motherfucker with his prospecting tools.
Yeah. Beats his ass.
Yeah.
It's also it's very vindicating. You feel like
and then he
you're with the character this whole time. Yeah, That's what's beautiful about this story is like when he gets shot, you're just like,
yeah, you're gonna follow me around for weeks. Wait, did you let me do all the work?
He put in so much work. You're so attached. It makes you attached because you walk through the whole thing. Like, it's a super well told story.
Mm-hmm.
But he fucks him up.
Collects his gold
exactly the right way to not die. Because that's a thing that can happen. That's what's crazy, dude. Like, you could just get shot.
He said something like,
die, and then and then you absolutely die.
Didn't hit him any of my guts.
Yeah, he's like, it went straight through. It didn't hit anything important. Yeah. Well, lucky you.
Yeah. I was just, I don't know if I would make that assumption.
Realistically, in the mid 19th century, after the Civil War, if you get shot. and you get shot. You're just probably gonna die just because.
You get shot in your earlobe.
No, that's the most fortunate in the world. But after all, he did just find a giant gold mine.
Got something to live for now.
Just
it has a happy ending, even though it
probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he leaves, and all of the critters come back.
Yeah, perfectly in unison. Yeah, super fun.
Yeah,
super endearing.
It's hard not to love.
That's one thing I would say. Sometimes we pin adjectives to films. I would say this one's like super endearing.
Yeah.
You know, like every character in its experience in it somehow is endearing.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You can say that about the Coen brothers, I think.
In general,
they make very endearing
you know?
characters.
I feel like that is what they do is
endearing filmmaking.
I feel like most of the time they do have a very like Western theme, like they're not
Western
all Westerns,
feel,
but I'm talking about like directionally Western half of the United States. They're all kind of based in that area.
Yeah,
they don't really go east,
right?
And they all have that like like solitude, like
everybody's true. It's cool to see people true to the
open world,
yeah,
you know, like view of things.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of tumbleweeds.
Yeah,
even gorgeous countryside though, man.
Yeah,
indeed.
Wyoming and shit is beautiful.
Second to last story. I think
this is the gal
who got rattled.
This one is it kind of goes back to kind of feeling good.
Yeah,
like this whole thing feels pretty good after this just like dive into depressing shit.
Yeah.
Goldmine felt good too.
Meal ticket.
Not my favorite segment. This one's got a lot of performance.
A lot.
Like,
a lot
really
more story.
Yeah.
It felt like maybe it's intentional. It felt like an episode of a Little House on the Prairie type of.
Yeah, there's way more story to this episode. Presented a lot more exploration of.
I think it's the longest segment.
Yeah.
And it feels like it takes forever.
It goes back to giving you some hope, giving you some good feeling. You know, this it's kind of a roller coaster, man. Like you get an up from Goldmine.
Yeah.
Continue the up into this. Guess what, guys? Goes down.
Yeah. Meal ticket is the darkest, but I think this is the most depressing. By the end, you're just like.
No, it rides a little high off of the gold miner story and then goes right back down.
Yeah.
It's a nice fucking little romance thrown in here.
Just yet again, just like shattering the vision of the.
Yeah.
Wow, the Oregon Trail. Blazing, new country and going west and you fucking
but mostly
get shot.
It's just the dysentery.
Something bad is gonna happen and you're probably not equipped for it. This story is about a wagon trail coming bearing a.
It's literally the Oregon Trail.
Yeah,
it's just generic wagon party moving west.
Pretty much, I think does the family of the girl pretty much like marry her off? I think.
I think she said she's going with her brother to this new town.
So that's even more fucked up. Basically, your brother promised her some guy.
A husband.
I'm going to sell my sister.
You say it like her brother has a promise of work. And
that's
pretty
that
sure
changes
he can get
later.
her work too, but she's a little unsure about.
Yeah, it
how
sounded
much
like
he might have exaggerated shit because he does tend to exaggerate.
Well, the scene that is introduced when you see him make the exchange, I think there's just like super brief mention of a guy's name and interest in her sister, and I think you naturally go to like marriage. Yeah. But it's revealed that like. Yeah,
and
brother's
he's
a shithead.
He's very uneducated not uneducated. He feels like apparently
he doesn't have a good business sense.
Yeah. So because it's revealed how much he paid their team guide, and the people like stifle laughter. It's like a stupidly high price. This kid like scammed this guy.
Now, the sad thing is there was probably as much as like there were old men like I'm gonna go fucking mine some gold, like this is another super true story probably of the experience of the West. Like some young dudes like, hey fucking I'm just gonna try to make some shit and run out here and hey fucking I can use you, come here. Let me use you to try to advance myself, and then we both fucking die. So much
Yeah.
Again, just super realness.
And now anyone who survived that Oregon Trail is now today their relatives are probably billionaires. Like, the government gave me 500 acres and $20.
Well, when you're like literally the people building the world, you're gonna come out on top.
Yeah.
But back in those days, you probably murdered all kinds of people.
So, do we have more for the gal that got rattled?
No, I do. Tragedy. I do. It ends in tragedy. It has super good performances. I love the interactions. The girl who's gonna get sold, her dipshit brother dies somehow. Can't remember exactly how.
He just gets sick. He gets sick one night and then dies the next day.
And then she starts this courtship with one of the guys. There is so much character in this. She starts a courtship with one of the guys running the train, and then he falls for her and her plight and just her innocent nature, and just like she's pretty smart, so he falls for that. But then you get his story with his partner that also runs the train.
Mr.
There's
Arthur.
a little bit of story there about them, like him wanting to take care of his partner. And
he wants to retire, but he knows if he retires, Mr. Arthur basically won't be able to continue business.
You get none of that character for the first part, which is a fun mechanic in storytelling. He just grunts, and then at a certain point, it just switches, and like now he's the character. You get then you get him now. You know, where you only had an idea of who this character might be, now you actually get an experience, and then a really harrowing battle, and like it is really kind of like. I don't know. The first time watching, I'm sure it felt like a reveal. Fuck, like because it is a pretty like you get into the fight. It's a native war party rolls up and because she runs off to find the fucking dog and gets distracted because the dog's laughing at gophers. Jesus Christ, lady, you don't know where you are right now.
Yeah,
go back.
And she wandered so far away,
so naive, like the most naive woman in the world. Like. God, you just got.
Like, did you even know how to get back?
No, just gonna laugh and go for you all.
Yeah. That scene especially when she's like laughing and the dog's barking, and it's like you can just hear the audience laughter. It felt very much like a scene from Little House on the Prairie.
So you get pretty involved in the old man, and like it felt like a bit of a reveal to me when. He goes back after this pitch battle where you only really see him interact with him, and there she is, shot in the fucking head. Like, yep,
yeah,
that's that.
Oof, yeah, it's just so depressing.
There was a little scene before the battle with the natives happened. He's like gave her a gun. He's like, if it gets bad, put one right between your eyes. It's just like. She needed more instruction.
Yeah.
What is bad exactly?
Because
you pulled it too soon. Yeah. And what's the story after this one? Is this the
last one? Is the Mortal Remains?
The Mortal Remains.
Such good transitioning though.
Yeah.
Such good transitioning, I think, because now you get right into
this
great lead into.
Yeah, this one's basically just dialogue.
The scene is a stagecoach inside.
It actually. You know, honestly, what it is like, it's kind of like a mini version of the Hateful Eight.
Yeah.
I mean, I get super Hateful Eight vibes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Like just the long conversations and like a carriage ride.
Western whodunit.
Yeah.
Western whodunit.
At the end when they get to the hotel, I was like, I could not remember if they went into the hotel, and I was like. If they do, it's just going to be a little too Hateful Eight. You know? So I don't think they do, and then they don't. But that story is
they do.
So interesting.
They go in the hotel,
but then it ends, right?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. There's no story in the hotel.
Sure. Yeah.
It's I just when good writers just write fucking
dialogue,
you can just listen.
The characters are super fun in this scene.
Yeah,
too. You get like a trapper that like. Sees people like 3 months out of the year, maybe, and you get the wife of a failed preacher, I think, or a failed priest to some degree, and then you get a fucking Frenchman,
two bounty hunters
being French, and then what appears to be two bounty hunters, or what are two bounty hunters, technically still, even with a reveal, they're still bounty hunters.
Oh, it's just so mysterious. It's
Brendan Gleeson.
It's got
Fun
such a
performance, really good
familiar
performance.
vibe to it.
Yeah.
You know exactly what it's going for,
Yeah.
but like you just don't see it in film a lot. It felt very
it's just good.
Poe, Edgar Allan Poe.
Yeah.
See that.
But done super well.
Yeah.
I do feel like the last two segments were not as strong as the first four.
I think if you view them like individually, that's absolutely true. But I think that
I feel like
I like the composition
if I
of
ask
the
us
whole.
all to rank them 1 through 6, those two are going to be 5 and 6 in some combination.
Yeah, I mean,
all of us.
probably, yeah. That's fair.
I mean,
But I would prefer to rank this just as a film.
Yeah.
And like just the stories together, I enjoy. That's true for sure. But I enjoy the flow. I enjoy the emotion of the film.
It's the balance.
I think it's I like the
balance.
composition of it. You know, it starts out like
The
the whole
gal,
ride.
the
It's
gal
really
who
a
rattled
ride.
is my least favorite
Yeah.
of them, but I do really like.
I do
all
agree
of
with
them
you though.
for
Yeah,
different.
it
reasons.
would be on the lower end for sure.
Yeah.
But I like the whole so much.
But every
Yeah.
piece has its own vibe too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Honestly,
it's-
like in a very impressive way too.
It's a full ride of a story. Like
Yeah,
it's really
absolutely.
just it's a
Absolutely.
ride. Like it does feel like that because you get thrown into the action, you get thrown into a little bit more action, but dwindling action. You get like
Yeah.
it's definitely a ride.
You get singing, you get dialogue, you get action, you get
Wonderful cinematography,
Comedy
great
and
shots,
horror.
comedy.
You
Yeah.
get Western. Which
You
is-
you
and you
get,
get a
Western.
Western.
Really.
If you want to watch a fucking Western movie that's just really good and not quite so sad or long, here you go.
all the Western
It
tropes.
gives you everything.
This wraps it all up.
Yeah.
All right. So
Yeah.
putting a bow on Ballad of Buster Scruggs. Any last thoughts?
The B of BS.
Fucking watch it.
Watch it.
Yeah,
It's
watch
a
this
super
fucking movie.
satisfying fucking movie.
I think we don't get enough like theatrically released
Yeah.
anthology films.
No.
I'm gonna say fuck
Not-
this movie hard. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Fucking hard. Take the ride.
Old West style.
Jesus.
Alright, so bow on Buster Scruggs. We just have
Yeah.
a couple things to get past, and the first one is current world. Reese, what are we gonna go to the theaters to watch? This
I'm
week?
watching Furiosa is what I'm watching.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm watching
what are you-
Furiosa.
Reese, we got John. Let's go see Furiosa.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. I'm seeing an IMAX. I think it's gonna be amazing no matter what screen you're seeing it on. Super
I
excited.
do kind of want to actually do that.
Yeah.
I've never been one to go to IMAX theater, but
Oh yeah.
for that movie,
It's fucking sweet. It's fucking
Yeah,
sweet.
it's awesome.
that would be
That
really
is
cool.
the movie to see on the biggest
For
screen
sure.
possible.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
like the ultimate action experience.
So yeah, the big releases this week are Furiosa, but probably a bit bigger than that. That maybe I might trade in my Furiosa tickets for is the Garfield movie,
Oh,
starring Chris Pratt.
he is pretty big.
He is. He's so fat. It's so funny.
The Garfield movie, the cat.
Yeah,
Another one?
It's another. It's full CG animated.
If they
It's
couldn't
not
do it
live
with Bill
action.
Murray, how would I expect
That's all
that they
they've
would do it
been.
with
Dude.
anyone
Garfield.
else?
Yeah.
So I can't do CGI Garfield.
Well,
I
see,
can't. It just seems
if
so
they can't make
fucking
it work
wrong.
with Bill Murray, how would they make
It
it work with
seems so
anyone?
wrong. Like it doesn't feel good to watch. Like the animation.
I
doesn't
like
have that
that
sense.
for a lot of these like video game movies and cartoon adaptations and stuff, they're realizing that like, why would we make these live action? Because it looks stupid and
Yeah.
nobody wants to see it. So they're
Right.
doing stuff like this where like, okay, if you're going to do a Garfield movie, a CGI one is a much better
No, it makes
choice.
much more sense for sure than live
Yeah.
action. But
I'm not going to watch it either
Yeah.
way.
I
don't,
haven't seen.
Why the fuck would you get Chris Pratt to play Garfield? God.
I mean,
It's not better than Bill Murray. Bill
No,
Murray
it's not
is-
better than Bill.
Bill Murray is Garfield.
well,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure
If
too.
you can't make it work with Bill Murray,
I
you can't
dude,
make it
No.
honestly, I fucking totally forgot that.
Yeah, if you-
Garfield.
like, am I
Wait, you
just-
didn't
just
see
think of the
Bill
old-
Garfield, A Tale of Two Kitties? Also starring Bill Murray.
That's a newer one, right?
That was the sequel to the first. Newer, I think it's like 2008 or something.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm thinking like old Garfield. Like,
Yeah, like 2D animated,
Yeah.
right? That
like the
voice.
Halloween
That-
special.
That
the Halloween
voice is
special
perfect.
Garfield.
Yeah. The week before that, we got the Strangers prequel and the Ryan Reynolds Imaginary Friends movie, If. I haven't heard anything about Strangers, but I've heard pretty terrible things about If. So
Strangers is going to be exactly what it
is.
You want to see
Strangers,
people get murdered?
Like it doesn't matter if it's a prequel or a sequel or a remake.
If you want to see a Ryan movie, go see Gosling in The Fall Guy.
Yeah. Of course, we still got Planet of the Apes. We still have Tarot. Surprisingly, Phantom Menace is still in theaters. We've got Godzilla X Kong.
25 years later, Phantom Menace still in theaters.
And we do still have Fall Guys. I'm really hoping I get to see that before it leaves.
I hope you get to see Fall Guys. I honestly think that is... Dude, it's a popcorn flick.
I know I'm going to like it.
You want to see that in the theater.
I'm trying to see it with Z, and every chance we've had to cancel last month.
Ever seen the movie Popcorn?
Popcorn?
I have seen the movie Popcorn. Yes, I have.
That movie's fantastic.
Yeah, that movie, it's been a while.
I just watched it a couple of years ago. It's about people. It's a movie about people watching a movie right? it is. It's a horror movie about people watching horror movies in a movie theater while murders are happening.
In the theater.
Yeah. And it's super fun because it's like super old timey. They reach out to like a theater troupe to like add effects to the movie theater when they watch these old like 50s B horror movies, and they actually
weird things wrong with the seats.
Yeah, like electrified seats and fucking gashes like smoke and stuff, and a giant mosquito. It's fucking super fun.
That sounds really fun.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. So yeah, I think you got some good options. Fall Guy, Planet of the Apes, Furiosa. Those are some pretty good movies to watch. I mean, we assume with Furiosa, but
it's an assumption, but
it's a good assumption.
It's fucking gonna be solid.
Yeah,
I can't imagine it could be worse than the first one.
All right. Well, speaking of,
and next week we have nothing. I don't know. Bad Boys. Ride or Die. Bad Boys 4.
I'll pass on that. I think it's Bad Boys a name. I don't think that. I don't think it's a number.
5.
It's probably the 5th. I don't think the title's a number though.
Bad Boys for Life, I think, was the 4th one.
No. That's right. Because my friend Ben tells me how much it pisses him off that they're doing a 4th Bad Boys, but the 3rd one was called Bad Boys for Life. And that pisses him off because why wouldn't, if you're going to do a 4th movie, why didn't you save the name?
Fair enough, yeah.
No, this one is called Bad Boys Ride or Die. And I
Ride or Die. I mean, that's the same thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, basically. Yeah. So good thing we have good movies in theaters now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, what's the pick?
All right. So here's the thing. I've made my selection. It's a long ass movie. We're gonna have a long Wednesday next week, no matter what.
Yeah.
But there's a really natural pairing with this film. So, if you guys can give away a couple of hours to one of the next 2 Saturdays, we have the option to turn this into a double feature. So I'm giving a pick with an option for a double feature.
Okay.
I can definitely not do this weekend, but potentially next weekend I could do.
So
this Friday is
could
worse
also
for
just
me.
be a good pick.
Yeah.
This Friday is worse for me than next. But anyway, so my choice is, this is just a movie I really love. I saw it one time. Can't wait to rewatch it. It is my favorite movie of 2023. Poor Things.
Ooh.
Okay.
Is going to be the film. And, if we have time, Frankenhooker.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. How long is this one?
It's like...
You said it was long?
It's pretty long. It's like 2.5 hours or something like that. So,
yeah, it's long.
Man, I don't feel like it was that long.
I have the exact time on me. I'm sure Reese has got it.
I'm trying to find it. It is streaming on Hulu, so that is very nice for everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
Poor Things is 142 minutes, 2 hours 22 minutes.
2 hours 22 minutes. That's long enough.
Yeah.
You can't pair it the same.
Not the same night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
unless Frankenhooker's like 80 minutes long.
Yeah. I think it's pretty short.
I mean, maybe we can make it work.
We can probably make it work one night or two. We'll it's 85 minutes. It's pushing it. It's pushing the 4 hours.
If we were efficient, and got it done.
Yeah. We could make it work, but we are not efficient people.
No.
Definitely Poor Things.
Definitely Poor
Maybe
Things.
Frankenhooker.
Maybe we give you Frankenhooker also.
And maybe even if we don't, you're still getting Frankenhookered.
Yeah, I mean, we'll watch it at one point.
Well, I need
it'll be picked sometime for sure.
I need Frankenhooker to speak on Frankenhooker because I haven't seen it since I was a wee lad.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That is going to be episode 28.
Sick.
Peace.
Bye.
Later.
So many guys.